So we went out and we're having a few drinks. It's mostly people from her work, and I'm like the only guy. There's like a few like fabulous guys that work with her.
Guys.
Yeah, and so like whatever, we're all hanging out having a good time. And then I'm like, hey, like I need to take a smoke break, whatever. So I go to the bathroom, I pee, I do my thing, and then this guy walks in. He's like, hey man, how you doing? And I was like, washing my hands. How are you? I'm doing fine. He's like, oh man, I wish I'd been better. And this the mistake I made was I asked him, why is it going? How could it be better?
Yeah, how could it be better? That's the offer.
That was number one right there.
You're offering. It's like an offer, you know?
Yeah, like honestly, biggest mistake of my life. He was a pretty cool dude.
But you were just being polite.
Exactly. It's that Southern hospitality. Anyway, so I'm talking to him. He's a corpsman in the Navy. I was like, oh, big.
Shit.
That's pretty cool. Like, that's hard to get into. He starts asking me what I do. I'm like, oh, well, I'm getting ready to join the Air Force when I graduate. Whatever. He's like, yeah, man, like, whenever you want to do, like it's worth it. Like, it's going to suck, but it's worth it. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. Nothing I haven't heard before. Yeah, sure, I was going along with it. And keep in mind, like, this guy kind of looked like more the fabulous side, right? But I was like, I don't give a shit. It's as long as you don't come on to me, keep that in mind later. As long as you don't come on to me, it's fine. So whatever, we're walking out from the bathroom, like he like hurries up and washes his hands to walk out with me. I'm like, oh shit, I see where this is going. Yeah. So we're talking on walking, and then Sarah
hitting on you.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And then Sarah comes on, like, oh, this is my girlfriend. He's like, oh, your girlfriend. I was like, fuck. Like, all right, here we go. I'm like, yeah, it's my girlfriend.
Poor guy just destroyed his hope and dreams right there.
He saw his whole night before his eyes.
It gets better.
Oh,
so
no.
like it gets better. Like, so we're talking whatever. Like, yeah, like he's in the Navy or whatever. So like, I'm in my mind thinking like Navy stereotype. Like that's kind of ironic. Like right here in the flesh. Whatever.
That's a stereotype.
Yeah, that's a stereotype. So the stereotype of the Navy is they're a bunch of like silly boys. They're like
little sussy bacas.
Yeah, because stuck in a ship. There's no one else around. So like whatever, we're talking. He's like, we're like we're gonna go play cornhole. We're like, all right, whatever. That's where we met that girl that works at the high school locally and is saying like her high school kids ask her number like daily. It's kind of funny.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, it's
goddamn horny.
So whatever. So we're getting ready to go play cornhole.
They be horny.
And the guy's like, "Hey man, let me get your number real quick." And I'm like,
you're fucking relentless.
No, I'm like, fuck. Like, I don't know how to respond to this. Like, I can't say I don't have a phone because it's in my hand.
Yeah,
like,
you don't know how to politely decline.
Yeah, and so I was
and then you even said like, "Hey, this is my girlfriend." Maybe he thought you swang both ways. I guess.
Maybe I don't know.
What the fuck? That's a little. That's a little rude.
Hold on. What was your outfit like that night?
So
were you wearing some tight ass jeans?
Were you looking promiscuous?
Double cheeked up on a
to be fair, Goyle, like my jeans are usually very tight, anyways.
Oh shit!
Well, this is true.
Yeah, this is true.
And it's
no
secret here that you got kind of a dumpy.
I've lost a little bit though, but we're getting there. So I'm wearing jeans and like a supplement T-shirt. Like I'm literally look like a bro. Yeah,
like a normal. Normal
with a fucking baseball cap. Anyways, a friend of mine, she worked at Taco Palenque here in town, and she said that every time I went in, because I always get free food from her, so every time I went in, she said. It's funny because she said
Taco Palenque, please sponsor us.
Yeah, please plug us. Well, actually, after what I'm about to say, probably not. That there's a gay guy that would always check me out. I'm like, well, okay, well, he's not paying for my food, so whatever.
He doesn't get a show.
So long.
He's paying for my food. It's a different.
So we'll get to the end of the story here. Yeah. Like he's like, so like I don't know what to do. So I'm like, well, I'll just give him my number and then block him right away. Like, that's the easiest thing to do. So I give him my number, whatever. This guy texts me. He's like, I'm not gonna say his name, but like, hey, it's blank. We met at whatever. I'm like, this is like 10 minutes after.
No,
this. I'm like,
dude, this guy was relentless.
I was like, wow, like I completely forgot you in 10 fucking minutes. And then, so whatever, we're hanging out, we're getting ready to leave, and like right before we leave, he texts me like he put like his name and introduced himself, and then he described himself. He's like, the silly sailor. I'm like, oh my god! And so I was like,
was down horrendous, bro. Down, he wanted, you know what I'm saying? Like, god damn.
Part of me wants to give him props. Like he knew I had a girlfriend. He knew obviously I wasn't, left field, but
wow.
Shit. I mean, the balls on that guy.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, some of the biggest nuts I've ever heard of.
So I think part of it might be that, like, military guy, he's probably not gonna be here for too much longer. Like,
oh, he doesn't even give a fuck at this point. Then,
exactly.
Yeah, he just wanted some bussy, bro. He wanted the gussy.
Some bussy.
You know
he wanted some anus.
Yeah, some anus. bro.
Yeah.
You gotta maintain the.
Welcome to Nerds and Slurred Words.
Sex after dark.
After dark.
So Slurred Words, dude.
Slurred words. I love myself a good slurred word.
Yeah, it is
Slurred
episode
word.
4 of Nerds and Slurred Words.
Fucking
Well, I
cowboys,
don't know.
man.
I don't know if we actually
Fucking
expected to get
lose.
here. Mostly because we're doing bi-weekly. So like, the first episode was like 6 weeks
Speaking
before
of-
the second one.
True.
Speaking of bi, refer to the intro. No, I'm just kidding.
True.
Exactly.
It's a very interesting. If you keep it, it'll be a very interesting.
It'll be an attention grabber, I guess.
Yeah. I was downtown, man.
So this week a little bit different. We got
Yeah.
our buddy Rowan with us, longtime friend
we
of
have
ours.
a guest. Yes,
Hello.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
Good to be here on the
It's
show.
Our first
the
guest.
the first guest on Nerds and Slurred Words,
Hell
episode
yeah.
4,
It's an honor.
and we let him choose the beer too.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did. I went ahead and chose a Texas classic,
A Texas classic.
Shiner Bock.
Hell
It's
yeah.
the perfect blend. It's not too light, not too heavy. Well, of course, for Goyle, he claims to drink nothing but IPAs, but alas, Bud Light gets him drunk. So here we are.
But a lot of things get him drunk, honestly.
Yeah.
That's I think-
The last episode we had this awesome German lager, and
that's-
holy
I know
fuck!
that's too much for him.
Dude, well, so the thing is that we were drinking them in liter mugs.
It was so good, dude.
Like the lug, it's the mug. It's the lug.
The lug
I haven't
nuts.
even started drinking it. The mug itself is 1 liter, and I made this mistake on
Yeah.
stream on fuck my life on podcast. I said that it was 2 beers, and Goyo found out the
Yeah.
other day it's actually like 3.5.
Yeah.
like bordering 4.
Yeah, it's 3. It's 3 full, and then like 10 milliliters of like the fourth. So
Can you speak that in American?
it's 3 beers.
How many pints?
Fucking
Is
1.
pints really a thing?
I don't even know.
Pints?
Not that it's not a thing. I'm saying like is pints really more American than liters?
Liters?
Liters
like-
is a metric,
Liters is
yeah.
metric.
Metric, yeah.
That's like centimeters. And
We
Well,
use-
but I mean it's like if you tell me like fucking
Just pull up the conversion.
meters or something versus feet or yards, I mean, yeah, I guess I'll fucking
Yeah.
I'll be like that's weird, or kilometers.
all
How
I
many
know is my
pints?
bottles of water have both.
Let me see
Whatever.
how many pints.
Anyways,
Pints in a fucking
he's over here googling.
pints
Don't misspell it.
in a liter.
Wait, RE, litre.
There's 2 U.S. liquid pints in 1 liter.
Holy.
Okay.
So
Oh,
pints.
so
2
that's-
fucking pints.
Yeah.
2.1. Yeah.
So when you
2.1,
go to a
1.3.
pub and you order a pint,
You're getting like
we had 2 of
pints.
those in the span of about 35 minutes.
Destroyed that fucking. It was amazing. It was really good.
It was
beer.
so good. It was, really
really
smooth.
good. It
We're
was
gonna have to.
really
We're gonna
good.
I
have
was
to
gonna
get you to
say,
try
yeah.
it. Yeah,
It was
I mean,
very
I think
enjoyable.
Goyo bought a case of Paul Lehner.
Yeah, I
beers.
did, and I finished all. I finished all of it last week.
the perks of living alone.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So this week we got a little bit more of a Texas classic. All of us obviously are from Texas. All of us actually are originally from Laredo.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Which is questionably Texas.
I mean, basically Mexico. But anyways, yeah. So we got Shiner.
It's a biculturalism.
So we got to get the official beer crack going.
Oh.
It's gonna be a little bit different this time, but we got the. It's a twist off cap. Oh, his was a lot more audible than ours.
Oh fuck! I haven't had
What
a.
a beautiful
I was gonna say,
smell! It's just such a like. There's just good memories.
You know, it smells like the greatest nation on earth. That's what it smells like.
It just smells
America.
like such good memories, dude.
America, baby.
No, Texas.
Texas. The fucking
Oh
Republic.
shit! That's a hell of a swig right there. Oh, and Rowan's already got
I
friggin'
foamed
foam.
it. I foamed it.
You did.
What's the? I've never
It's
observed.
It's really not a strong beer. I think.
Yeah.
If I look here. it's
Okay,
maybe
so
I've
Shiner
4%.
is actually kind of unusual.
Yeah, we'll let Manny do his alcohol stuff.
All right, yeah, I did a lot of research on
I
this
don't-
because you know what, Shiner's probably my favorite beer.
Yeah.
you actually got me to start drinking it.
What is?
Did I really? Was
You
I?
did.
Okay,
You
so
know-
So it was you, and then my girlfriend. That's all she drank, and so I was like, "Well, I guess that's all we're
Really?
drinking." I'm more of a Budweiser guy.
That's
love
all she
Budweiser.
drinks. You only drink just straight Shiner.
Oh, yeah,
Or, like, variations of the-
We'll drink like Dos Equis and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if she chooses, like, if we're going to the lake or something, she'll choose Shiner.
Damn.
a lot of lagers.
It's definitely a Texas favorite. A lot of people. I mean, it's extremely popular in Texas.
I mean, it's a Texas favorite for sure, but it's also a big national chain at this point.
really,
Like it's
I thought
it's
it was
all over now.
a Texas thing.
Shiner Bock is a pretty big thing.
I didn't know
So,
that.
but it's unusual because so Shiner. Remember, I told you that I thought Shiner was 18 IBUs. Shiner's actually lower at
Really?
13 IBUs,
Oh, okay.
which is weird.
yeah.
What is that in percentage? I don't speak.
Okay, well, so IBUs is the International Bitterness Units.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So bitterness wise, that's what it's at. So the first couple of episodes we had IPAs. Those were the first one was in like the 50 range. The second one was in the 70s, and then
the kick in the ass.
The Oktoberfest beer that we had last episode was
like
it was in the 30s.
No,
I'm sorry, 2024.
The higher, the more bitter.
The higher, the more bitter.
Yeah.
Yes. So like if you were drinking like a stout, you'd probably be like in the 80s to 100s.
I'd probably shoot myself.
Which is like a Guinness or
like a
right?
Guinness. Yeah,
Guinnesses are stouts.
So and Shiner's only 4.4% ABV.
Yeah, so it's not.
Yeah, so it's not
a
strong.
little bit on the low side.
It's so if you drink Dos Equis, that's a 4.2.
So
I think
Budweiser
Budweiser
is pretty light too.
Bud Light is in threes, I think.
Yeah.
Budweiser I think is 4.5. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong.
El Chingon was sitting at like 7% ish.
Yeah. Well, it's because IPAs have a higher APV.
Well, and El Chingon
on average,
dude, I've heard this from several
it's
people.
Right there,
at this point.
it's right there on the floor.
Yeah, it's right
Still has some extra ones. You haven't touched them.
I haven't touched.
Sacrilege!
I'm caught.
I would have torn through that shit.
So, but
it's like every night after work, I'm like drinking my sorrows away. Being a shitty developer, I'm a software developer, guys, and sometimes I just feel, some days.
He also loves ordering DoorDash.
I do.
So he's usually
he doesn't fucking get out. Like that's the problem. Is
yeah,
that
I'm a
you
hermit.
refuse to go anywhere.
I'm a hermit. Yeah, I know,
yeah.
I know.
Well, that and when he does go out, he shows up like 20 minutes, at least 20 minutes late.
45
and
minutes later. To be fair, this time he had a decent excuse.
Yeah,
because he was getting
for once.
he was getting passed by rich people.
Yeah, I know.
So like,
My
if Goyo over here says
Poor.
I'm on my way, that usually means you have time to shower, eat. Like today, for example, we were recording. Like, hey, I'm on my way. So I was leaving the gym. I stopped at home to get something. I went to Chick-fil-A, waited in a long line, got some food, ate on my way over here.
I was actually hungry.
Sat down, talked with Manny for a while, and then Goyo got here.
Yeah. Okay, but good excuse. My car stalled at an intersection less than a minute away from.
You see, that would be a good excuse, except we live almost just as close.
That's true.
You were at the gym though.
I left later than he did probably.
The gym is closer to his apartment than my apartment.
I was packing my shit. Yeah, I was packing the shit. Which I even forgot my headphones, so I guess I didn't pack everything. Right?
No, you didn't.
My name's Phones.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Shiner's actually kind of weird. So I was looking up a lot of stuff about Bock's because obviously the Bock. It's a German. Obviously, it's a lager. It's a type of lager. It's German origin.
Where was? Oh no, never mind.
This is the Rhineland.
This is. I was about to say where is beer created? Is it? That's a good question.
I don't know. That is a good.
You
question.
associate beer with
next
Germany, right?
Yeah, I was. About to say,
okay. So Germany does have a lot of history for beer, but there were a lot of people brewing for a while.
Is it a European invention?
Yeah, I would assume. Well, I mean, Europe was around a lot longer than we fucking were. So.
Like when you think of wine, you think of like Italy and France.
Yeah,
you don't think
Rome.
think of
Rome,
South Texas.
Yeah,
you don't think of wine, South Texas.
Well, mostly because South Texas wasn't a fucking thing.
That's correct.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, I'm not a history major, but I know enough about history to know that South Texas has only been here for a certain amount of time.
Yeah. Anyways,
well, I mean, it's been here, but it hasn't
digress.
been colonized and populated.
Anyways,
let's
go back to Bock.
I'm telling you, that's gonna be the fucking. That's gonna be the motto of our shows. Anyways. So okay. So German origin. Mm-hmm. So the weird thing about Bock's is that normally they're a lot stronger as far as alcohol percentage goes. They usually sit in like the 6 to 7% range.
Oh, so like an IPA almost.
Yeah. And bitterness, they're a little bit higher. They're usually around the 20 to 30 range. Mm-hmm. So Shiner is actually on the lower end of the spectrum.
It's like a light Bock.
Well, yeah, and it's a very easy drinking beer too. Oh. Like almost too easy. So it's I will say this. I couldn't find anybody who could like factually confirm this. Shiner likes to claim that they are the oldest brewery in Texas.
Really?
1913 is when they were established.
Wow.
By German immigrants.
Yeah.
There you go.
Those good old Germans. The Spoetzel Brewery, Shiner, Texas. So it was started by Cosmos Spoetzel, which is where it gets its name.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, so it was well, actually, no. It was founded in 1909 by German and Czech immigrants, and then Cosmos Spoetzel bought it in 1913.
Spoetzel.
He buys the brewery. He was one of the brewmasters at the time, and he decided to keep the name of the brewery as he named it after himself. He kept the brand name as the name of the city, which was actually a Brewers Association in Shiner, Texas. Yeah, and so they kept the name. So you want to know how fucking baller Cosmo Spoetzel was, dude?
Why is everybody who makes beer baller? First we got Brother Paul making fucking Paul. Making Paulaner and fucking, fucking Munich, bro.
Paulaner, the monks.
We got Spetzel over here.
The monks were the ones that designed Box.
Really?
Fucking hell, dude.
So, okay, I'm getting off topic again, but it's technically relevant. So here's
an old joke, and I'll tell you right after this.
Here's the thing.
There's an old joke about Catholics being alcoholics. So
there's a lot of jokes.
Oh, that's not a joke, son.
Look at us. That's not a joke.
So. Okay, funny thing is that the monks themselves, obviously not obviously, but they're Lenten fasters, right? During Lent, monks will fast for the entire 40 days if they're kind of on the extreme spectrum of that, right?
I see where this is going.
So what they would do is they would brew beers that were very heavy in malts, like bready flavors, that barley flavoring, and this is what would hold them over throughout their entire fast.
Wow.
So they designed Box to basically be their sustenance.
To be a meal supplement?
Yes.
So one can argue Shiner is made from God.
It's the Lord's beer.
I don't know. We're calling a lot of
Box.
things the Lord's beer.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Goyle, I've gotten a lot of fucking mentions about this specifically.
Really?
Because people tell me that you do not speak flatteringly of beer.
I don't.
Like every time, like in the first episode or not the second episode,
which is weird because I'm a big fan.
You described El Chingon as smelling like paint thinner, and then you described the fucking Oktoberfest beer as a piss golden.
It's piss golden. That's very true.
So they were like, he's not very flattering.
I just, I speak my mind, okay? I'll be honest.
Well, it's funny you say that because Goyle, as much as he claims to love beer and claims to hate liquor, every time we have ever hung out and gone out, he always has liquor, not beer.
He ends up with old fashioned.
That or his arch nemesis, Fireball.
Okay.
Oh, I've never seen him with Fireball.
I haven't touched Fireball in a very, very long time.
Oh, it's been less than a year.
I don't remember the last time I had it, I'll be honest.
I don't know.
When
My birthday.
Oh, God. What, in fucking January?
Yeah, that's still within.
Really? I had that?
Yeah.
I don't remember having that at your birthday, to be honest. Oh, shit. Yeah, I do end up with liquor. Then.
Anyways. So keeping in that tradition,
okay, so
Shiner actually brewed Shiner Bock only during Lent.
Oh, wow.
Really? Originally. They only brewed it during Lent and served it during Lent up until 1973 when it became a year-round offering because everybody was like, I want this fucking beer. When it's balls cold, I want it. And yeah, they stuck with it.
Wow.
Interesting.
Well, I have nothing negative to say about Shiner. It's
Wait,
an old
how would
favorite.
you describe it though?
How would I describe it? I was gonna ask Manny, have you ever? Can we pour this out into a glass? Because I don't think I've ever seen.
Yeah, we can definitely pour it out into some glasses.
The actual color, like the color of the thing, because we usually describe.
It's about the same color as that bottle.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
we can definitely pour.
It's as dark.
It's a darker beer.
It's as dark. Oh,
it's
wow.
Dark. We can definitely get some glasses here in a little bit and hook you up. But yeah, so
I'm holding it up to the light right now, trying to fucking see.
So going back to it though, you want to know how fucking baller Cosmo Spoetzel was? We all know that Prohibition happened. At least we did, right?
Right. Yeah, baller.
Okay, Prohibition. For those that don't know what Prohibition is,
moonshine.
Prohibition was a time in the 1920s, I believe, when the U.S. government banned alcohol.
Would you believe
they
that?
banned alcohol completely, and this was when moonshiners became popular, right? And this was because moonshiner was brewed basically by
illegal production.
Yeah, it was brewed illegally or distilled illegally rather. So Cosmo Spoetzel actually went to fucking prison for refusing to stop brewing Shiner.
What a baller!
What a baller! What the fuck? I didn't know brewers were such badasses, bro.
Yeah, he refused to stop brewing during Prohibition.
Damn.
So he did time. He did 2 years in state penitentiary.
He did 2 years? What the fuck?
Yes.
Holy shit.
This brewmaster went to prison to keep us fucking plastered.
To keep us nourished during a Lent.
To keep us nourished, bro. Yes, he did it for the monks, I'm sure.
He did it for the people.
Yeah. Oh, and another little fun fact about Shiner.
Yeah.
Willie Nelson almost owned Shiner.
No shit.
Whoa.
Yes.
What the fuck?
So-
The Willie Nelson.
God
The
damn.
Willie Nelson. Imagine what fucking Shiner would be like if
It'd
Willie
probably
Nelson
be infused with
owned
like
Shiner.
pot or something.
Yeah, I was about to say it might be
Yeah.
a little bit more,
like some CBD.
a
Yeah.
little bit more fancy. You know.
Yeah. So they were playing dominoes. Willie Nelson and
Which is a
Cosmos Wetzel.
dangerous game if you
They
gamble.
played dominoes.
You
Yes.
gamble on it.
And at a certain point, the game was getting real close, so it was time to ante up.
Oh no!
I can't remember what it is that Willie Nelson offered as his bet,
It's my turbo.
but Cosmos Wetzel bet the fucking brewery, the entire brewery.
Fuck.
Wow.
Obviously, he won.
Damn, Special was fucking. What a fucking G, dude. He's
Right?
like, yeah, I'm gonna bet my whole fucking life
This guy,
On dominoes.
on
nonetheless.
dominoes, bro. Holy shit.
this guy was absolutely insane.
Yeah,
Like,
what
he
a
didn't give
fucking G,
fuck.
dude. What a fucking G.
Yeah,
That's
Shiner
fucking cool.
has an interesting history.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, it's a really good beer. Like, okay, so with this
Yeah.
particular one, like almost no hop scent. Like if you really give it a
Right.
smell,
Yeah.
almost no fruitiness.
I don't- yeah.
nothing.
Don't get that aromatic experience that you did with
It's
some of the
almost
other
pure
beers.
malt when you taste it, right? I mean, it's very sweet. You get like
Yeah.
a little bit of caramel behind it.
Oh yeah.
You know,
And it looks like caramel. See? I didn't describe it, negative. It's a very, dark, beautiful kind of like, caramel color. There you go.
you're really
You're really
giving your
pushing the
all.
limits on that one. Jesus.
One other thing notable about Shiners, and Goyle, you know a little bit more about craft beer.
Well,
All right.
do I?
What about
Do I?
Well, you lived in Dallas. You claim to have been to the Four Corners Brewery, which
I
we all know is bullshit.
I corrected. I've driven by the
He said he's been by, which means he's driven by. the brewery.
I've
Okay,
never
okay.
been in, yeah.
What about a Shiner bottle stands out to you?
I guess because it's the color. Maybe it's dark. It's a darker color. I don't know. I guess it's yellow.
Rowan, any guesses?
I don't know. Like
The sticker?
So I drink a lot of like Dos Equis
Independent
and
Craft
everything,
Brewers Association.
but there's bottle caps, and to me, at least, the neck seems a little bit longer than most beers.
All right. Well, you're looking into this way too much.
Oh shit.
The engineering.
Goyle's investigating the
I'm
bottle
like,
right now.
what the fuck?
No, the one thing that is different about Shiner that is a very big no when it comes to craft beer: twist off caps.
Oh.
So most of the time, when you brew your beer, you crimp it, and they don't like twist off caps because it allows more oxygen permeation.
Right.
And you don't want that. You want the least amount of oxygen to hit your beer until it's actually going to be drunk, right?
Okay.
Because the more oxygen that enters the beer, the more bacteria, and then you can spoil it, and it gets
Stale.
It gets stale. It gets gross. I mean, beer doesn't necessarily go bad, but it definitely can taste like shit.
Right.
Yes.
It's not like wine, where
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it can potentially taste better after longer you leave it sit.
Well, and there are actually some beers that do
Are like
age
that.
well.
Yeah.
I don't know any.
You know,
I've heard of them. Like
that
I've,
makes
I've,
me-
I've in my research
Uh-huh.
for the past month and 2 months, whatever. There have been mentions of beers that do age well, and I don't know what they are, but supposedly there are.
That makes me think of this, like, I think it was like a Budweiser special or like a Miller special that I think we had it when we went to Lake Travis.
Oh yeah.
it
You're
was
talking
like
about the little bottle.
Yeah,
It's like a weird.
It was like
yeah.
an old school Budweiser, like little snub nose bottle.
Yeah.
and it was like Budweiser Reserve. And so what they did is they aged the beer, or they put the beer in like these old whiskey casks. So like they kind of gotten some of the flavor of the whiskey cask, and they were very good.
I've
It's
seen that,
probably
yeah.
some of the
Dangerous.
better beer I've had in my life. Yeah.
I definitely have seen that where
So-
they'll
so-
age the beer a little bit.
So I
in
don't know if
whiskey
that's
casks.
I don't know if that's what you're talking
Yeah.
about, but
It was
that's what
not,
it reminds me
Not
of.
necessarily, but it's probably one of those beers.
It's definitely like so. The one you're talking about is definitely more expensive than a
Yeah.
case of Shiner, and they
Yeah.
only, at least that we saw, only sell them in 4-packs.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were like a limited.
So they're like maybe half
thing.
the size of this bottle, a little snub nose,
Yeah.
like a medicine bottle.
Really
looking.
that small?
Yeah, they're like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
think of like
It's an
I don't
old
know.
school. It's an old school Budweiser, like
shit.
how they
Think
used
of like
to make back in
40s
the day.
medicine bottle.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Really?
Very
Yeah.
old school design.
Kind of
yeah.
like a almost like a Snapple type.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it looked like
yeah.
a Snapple. Yeah, like a Snapple bottle.
And yeah, they're about the same price as like a 6-pack, but you get 4.
Yeah,
And
they're
so-
very good.
So
Very good.
I'm excited about the
what I
heady
re-
toppers.
from what I remember.
The fucking a coworker of mine He's giving me the IPAs.
The Vermont?
Yes.
Nice.
They come in. They only come in 4-packs.
The Vermont. Oh shit.
They only come in 4-packs. I don't know why.
So he has a coworker from Vermont that had promised to try a very unique double IPA. Right?
He promised to send us this double IPA from Vermont. I can't get it in Texas. Like I
that's
literally
really-
looked it up. I couldn't order it. Nothing.
Produced in very limited quantity.
Produced in
right?
very limited
Yeah.
quantities.
And it sells
and
out. And
had
shit.
one of the highest ratings online that I've ever seen anywhere. Like I cite multiple sources. There's a couple of different websites that I go to for reviews and like people that talk about like flavor profiles and different things like that. And it was like consistently like 4.9, 4.8, 4.9, like pretty high. Like most beers will sit like 4.2 or like 3.9 or something like that. This one was 4.9, 4.8, 4.9. Like it was consistently high for a double IPA, which is really fucking strong, like bitterness wise.
I wonder what the IBU on that is. What do you think?
Double IPAs are usually in the hundreds.
Like in the hundreds. Oh,
yeah, like
shit.
they'll usually border around that 100 mark.
See, like I can't like I'm a very simple guy.
Like
I drink what I drink. I stick to the same thing.
Yeah.
I've tried a few IPAs. Like I know it's like a typical beer thing. It's an acquired taste, but I just can't. Like
Yeah.
So I think that if you ever wanted to get into IPAs, like just for the sake of like getting more into craft beers, I would recommend starting with that art car that we had.
That's pretty good.
A very fruity aroma to it. Like it's a very easy way to introduce yourself. It's got the bitterness because it's like in the 50s.
Yeah, it's an IPA.
But I mean, it's a really like
it's a good like intro.
Yeah,
to
it's
IPAs.
intro to IPA.
Intro to IPAs. I would have taken that class in high school.
I know shit. I would have too, dude.
IPA 1001.
Yeah, no shit.
Anyway. I'm telling you, we got to make a shirt for that. All right, so a little bit more about Bock's. So I told you, monks were the ones that started this because they wanted something to hold them over in Lent, right?
Brothers always.
So we're going back to those Bavarians.
Love that shit,
right? So anytime you see a Bock, you're gonna see a fucking goat. I don't know if you've noticed this.
Yeah,
you're gonna see a goat.
Haven't had many Bocks, I'll admit.
You know a little bit more about German.
German. Well, yeah, kind of. Yeah.
So
not fluent, but yeah.
Bavarians. So the monks. They started in the city of. I think it was a town. I guess of Einbeck. Yes. And so when they started with production of these beers, it was a Bock. They mispronounced the city of the name, like some Bavarians the Bavarians that were receiving it. They mispronounced the city's name. And instead of saying Einbeck, they said Einbach. Which literally translates to Billy Goat.
No shit.
So that's why every fucking Bock you see, there's going to be a goat on it.
There's going to be a boat. And so Bavaria is like a province or like a state in Germany, right? That's what I
think it's like a province,
like a region.
I should have looked that up since the last time I mentioned it.
That's what I understand from what I remember. I might be wrong, and I think we have like one German listener.
We have a German listener, and we have an Irish listener.
Apparently, so if you're that one German listener,
that's the luck of the Irish.
It's the luck of the Irishman.
The luck of the Irish lad. Okay,
I'm sorry.
The Scottish. It's not even Ireland is more like a little bit more understandable. Anyways, sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend any of fucking UK people.
I just yanked the shit out of the cord and almost cut Rowan's head off.
I was almost hung.
But yeah, I think from what I remember, the Bavaria is like a region or a state or a territory, whatever you want to call it, in Germany. If I remember, like, because I know that in like France you have Champagne, which is the region where they make champagne. That's why they call it that.
Correct. Yeah,
that liquor.
And anywhere else, it's Prosecco. It's the exact same formula. It's everything, but champagne only comes from Champagne, France.
The Champagne region, province, whatever you want to call it.
Everything else that claims to be champagne
is not.
If it's not made in Champagne, France, it's Prosecco.
Leave it to the French too.
Leave it to the fucking French
to be so prideful.
What a bunch of
French fries out there.
Yeah, to say you cannot call it champagne. If
you don't call it champagne, if it's not champagne.
Champagne.
And then they go,
Sacre bleu. Sacre bleu. Sacre bleu. I'm sorry, we're like being stereotypical right now. But it's fine. It's fine.
So I explained this last time, and you weren't here for this, but I explained bottom fermenting lagers.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so lagers in general are bottom fermenting in most cases, which means that when they ferment the beer, do you understand?
Yeah.
So when they ferment the beer, the yeast itself will sit towards the bottom of the liquid,
right?
Sink down.
And they usually they keep it a little bit cooler than it normally would because the yeast can survive in cooler temperatures. Whereas like ales, for example, would be in most cases top fermenting. There are some exceptions here and there, but for the most part, most people agree lagers are bottom fermenting.
Right.
Okay, so here, these Bocks are lower in carbonation typically. Shiner, to me, is a little bit higher on that carbonation. Like, to me, there's a little bit more kick as far as carbonation goes.
Yeah.
It's a very crisp sort of taste.
It's like I would say it's almost the perfect amount.
I would agree. I mean, it's very smooth, very pleasing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
the mouthfeel is good. You know, again, you have it's very shut the fuck up. I saw the look you gave me when I said mouthfeel.
Oh, yeah.
The mouthfeel.
It's very pleasant, easy to drink lager, and that's why it's very popular.
Oh, so that's a lager. Okay,
it is a lager. A Bock is a lager. A Bock is a style of lager.
I see.
Yes, there's actually a Doppelbock, which basically literally translates to double Bock.
Double Bock,
and they're usually darker.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's just the grains are roasted. Typically, I think that typically the ABV is a little bit higher, the alcohol percentage. I guess. Okay. Sidetrack. Fun fact. So there are types of Bocks out there where the brewmasters will basically freeze it, and what they'll do is they'll take it to the freezing point of water, but not the freezing point of alcohol.
Right.
So they freeze the water only in the beer, which removes the water percentage in the beer.
Makes it stronger.
And makes it fucking strong. There's some Bocks out there that are in like the 13 to 20% range.
Jesus Christ.
Imagine a fucking beer
for all the
at
college
13%.
We don't have to imagine. We can just scoop some up. We can find
them.
Exactly.
For people that are in college and that maybe remember the time of the Four Loko when the Four Loko reigned supreme. That's like equivalent of a tall boy Four Loko in a beer.
Is it really?
It's 13%? Like 14%. 14% was.
Is this pre when Four Loko could kill you if you drink two?
Yeah, okay. yeah. This was like back in the glory days of the Four.
Back in the glory days
before White Claw became the new shit.
So,
but now I think it's probably different now.
I would probably think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably had to control a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, those Four Lokos are.
I think there's like a bunch of high school kids dying and stuff like that.
No
I think
shit.
that's part of the reason.
Those things were crazy, bro.
Yeah,
disgusting. I tried one once and I was like, never again. Never again. It was ass in a can, bro.
So, Jesus.
There he goes with his great description.
Stank ass in a can. Stank ass in a can.
So
not Shiner Bock, but Four Loko.
So I've never tried Four Locos.
Really?
Just because it's just never appealed to me. But
I haven't.
What I have tried, and I do truly like, and it's not for the faint of heart, is 147 proof moonshine.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
I think that's just over the legal limit.
I mean, that's
to be able to
70% alcohol.
Close to it. Yeah, it's roughly double percentage.
God damn.
I think it's the one we tried when we were up in Tennessee is like. You can't fly with it. You can't bring it back.
Oh shit!
Yeah, like literally, it's.
You can make a bomb out of that
explosive.
Shit.
Exactly, because like
there's
a chance it could ignite, and so it like.
Holy shit!
The guy we were tasting up there, like he says he drinks it like fucking water every day. Oh my God. Like he gets the buttermilk.
Just perpetually
he gets like
lit.
There's a syrup flavored one they make.
Oh wow!
Old Smoky Mill. I don't know if y'all have tried it. He says he doesn't even use syrup on his pancakes. He gets that from his freezer.
No,
I swear to God. And he dumps it on there. And we tasted it. And I shit you not, it tastes just like Aunt Jemima's.
What?
Yeah, literally. Well, I guess that brand doesn't exist anymore. But
I think it's still called Aunt Jemima.
Yeah,
it's just not.
We were at HEB the other day. You couldn't find it.
Really?
They only had...
with the picture of the lady?
You couldn't find any Aunt Jemima. There was only Miss Buttersworth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then the local brand.
Which is better than any other brand.
Pretty much.
And cheaper.
Yeah. Usually.
HEB brand.
Yeah.
HEB all the way.
Bro.
Go, I'm telling you.
Looking for the sponsorship.
Dude, we
please sponsor us.
No, but we're failing at it because we're already plugging them. And they're not even. They're like, why the fuck would we sponsor that? They already plug us.
HEB way too much. Provide them way too much for all the 50 people that's listening.
It's like 60. We're at 60, like 8, I think. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to investigate.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the HEB is like usually involved in their local community, and they're pretty receptive to like supporting like football teams and bands and shit like that. So maybe if we like,
I don't know if we qualify as a football team. Though.
Yeah, or
you could say you're part
if
of
anything,
the,
if anything, the three of us would look like the
University.
fucking offensive
Booter
line.
Club.
That's about it.
Yeah. Anyways,
okay, so getting back to what we were talking about though.
moonshine.
Yeah, well,
we're
going back to the box. Going back to the box. Going further back on track.
Yeah, the box.
So we mentioned that Bock's not very much hop flavoring in them right now. So typically what Bock's do is they're very lightly hopped as far as aroma goes. So in most cases, the only hops that are added are bittering hops. And like I said, normally they're a little bit higher in the IBUs. This one's sitting a little bit lower. Excuse me. Which is different from the Oktoberfest beer that we had last week. Which, by the way, I said it was a Dunkel. I was wrong. It's actually a Marzen.
A Marzen.
Which is very similar to a Dunkel, but slightly different.
Man, the Germans, bro, they just have so many fucking names for their fucking.
There are a lot of different types of German
variations
beers.
of their beers and
well,
shit.
okay, I will say this. There are a lot of different types of German lagers.
Yeah, so
and a lot of different types of German ales.
The one that we drank last time, they don't sell I don't think they sell the exact same in that, that multi-pack that I bought from the same Polliner, which is one of the brewers that participates in Oktoberfest in Munich every year. They don't sell that like in the store.
They sell it on their website. I will say that.
Oh, they sell it on the website.
Yes.
I didn't see it in the store because I went.
I wonder if you order it, do you have to pay like $40 million in shipping because it comes from Germany?
No shit. Probably.
It's probably, if not shipping, it's probably heavily taxed.
Yeah, probably taxed.
But yeah, EULA or no, what is it? What is it?
EULA, goddamn.
What's the tax that they have?
It's
I don't know. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just thinking of those duty free stores.
The tariffs or something.
Whatever. Anyways.
So like I was saying, like I couldn't find it again, and like I thought they might have sold it in the pack, the multi pack, which is why I bought it, but they didn't. I don't think that's the same type because it says Oktoberfest beer, and the one that's like the most similar to it in the multi pack is called the Marzen, I think, or the Oktoberfest Marzen. So I don't know if that's like the same or it's not.
That should be the one. Yeah,
but
it's called Oktoberfest beer. Maybe spelled it German, like BIER.
But I think it tastes different from having both of them. I think maybe because it was stored in a can and one was stored in a bottle.
Really?
Maybe because I thought it tastes different. But then again, I was getting fucked up, so I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. Maybe I was just, my taste buds were diluted.
Bottles and cans do taste different.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
100%.
Like, yeah, they do. There's a different flavor. So
a part of it is I think the light that is able to pass through it.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think there is. In part of my research, I've found that there is some sort of like way that the bottles tend to affect like the light, which is why like with darker beers, for example, they make darker bottles so that there's less light permeation.
Oh. Makes sense.
Yeah. Beer science, man. Beer is so cool to study.
It is very...
I'm not going to lie.
Chemistry.
I have a lot of fun
chemistry,
researching.
Science, biochemistry and shit.
So I'm going to name these out for you real quick.
Okay.
You were saying there's a lot of different types of German beers. There's types of German Bocks, bro.
Seriously.
All right. We got a Maibock.
I wonder if there's like a master... There's like a master not like a master brewer, but a master like cataloger of beers.
I'm
like
sure.
Or a beerologist who like studies. Like, what would you call that? Like what would you call it? Like somebody who studies
ADHD.
the variations
That's what you have.
of beer.
A beerologist, you said
A
that?
beerologist, yeah. Somebody who studies like the different types and shit.
You didn't even fucking hear me, dude.
No, I
So anyway, so
heard
what did you... No, I didn't. I was
I said ADHD. That's what you have.
I don't have any ADHD. I'm fine.
He just has ad.
I have ADD, attention deficit disorder.
Anyways, box. We've got my box. Literal translation: May box.
May box.
Made because they were only served in the springtime.
I see.
Doppelbox, like I said, they're double box, and then we have ice box, and then just straight up traditional box. So May box are typically light; they're very pale, and easy going.
So that's kind of like the local brand. Was it Marbach? Not Marbach.
Karbach.
There you go.
You're thinking of the street. Yeah.
That's made in Houston.
Karbach.
That's made in Houston, right?
Karbach is a pretty good one. I will say that Karbach actually brews a lot of ales.
Really?
They're in Houston, right?
Houston area.
Houston area.
Shiner's Houston area.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know
it's in that direction.
I thought it was a little bit like in the middle of nowhere.
So like actually that keg right there that you'll shoot your eye out. Which by the way,
Karbach.
if you can find it at an HEB, it's a Karbach. It's a limited time offering, only offered during like the Christmas holidays.
Yeah,
that's actually a red ale.
It's a very Christmassy.
It's got a lot of really good like apple and cinnamony flavors to it.
Huh.
It's really good. But yeah, so the Maibock would be like the lighter lager because remember this is lagers. That particular one would be an ale from the Karbach. The Doppelbox and the Eisbox are darker. Those are the ones that are going to be a little bit darker in flavoring, and or rather, like they roast the grains a little bit more on those versus what the Maibocks would look like. And then you have traditional Bocks that just kind of sit in the middle. They just kind of borderline. I would probably say that Shiner Bock is probably in the middle of a traditional Bock and an Ice Bock.
An Ice Bock?
Yeah,
I don't know what the translation
Weiss
is.
Bock?
No, Ice Bock.
Ice Bock.
Like EIS Bock.
Because I know Weiss in German means white. It's a color, like a color, like pale.
It's not
not white
It's
beer.
not Weiss, it's ice.
Yeah, Doppelbocks are the ones that are the favorites of monks because it's very bready. You know, you got that barley flavoring to it. You know, it's that's the one that sustains them the most. So and I guess just part of that, Bock malts are usually chosen to be very bready, like the Munich malts and the Vienna malts that we had, like on those lagers earlier.
Yeah.
Munich malts and lager malts are, and Vienna malts are usually pretty popular in German beers. And it can be difficult to avoid the sweetness on these types of beers because you don't add a lot of hops, so your war on sweetness really starts, you know, when you start adding malts to your.
It is sweet. You know, that's something that I've never really noticed. I'm taking like a sip right now. It does have like a bready kind of sweetness to it,
very bready,
and it has like a very like twinge of bitterness at the very end as you're
like
finishing.
a little bit of a bitter aftertaste.
Yeah, like a bitter aftertaste, but it's for the most part, it's very enjoyable. Yeah, very
Yeah.
enjoyable, very smooth.
Yeah,
See, nothing negative. Okay,
nothing negative.
Looks like I chose right.
Just I guess a little final note from me. So what I picked up. Main differences, because I mean, one of the fucking things that I had so much trouble researching was what the fuck was a difference between a Bock and a Marzen, for example. So this is what I picked up: Marzens and Bocks. Bocks will have low aroma, almost no aroma hops. Whenever you brew a Bock, you add only hops for bitterness,
non-hoppiness, huh?
Yeah, you'll get some that have that produce a head just because there's hops.
Yeah,
but those usually are bittering hops, not aroma. The flavor will primarily come from your malts, which means that your malts have to be carefully chosen. I mean, you always want to choose your malts carefully, right? But you're at this point, you're depending heavily on the flavoring coming from the malts, right? Because 70% of your taste comes from your smell, so you're not going to be able to depend on that anymore. You have to get the smell out of your malts, right? Whereas when you put aroma hops in there, you can alter the taste of it just with the smell. So that makes this a little bit different. And the last thing is that the Bocks are typically low on the carbonation, which is different. And which is why Shiner is weird to me, because Shiner's low on IBUs, which is not something that Bocks are typically known for. They're usually a little bit like in the mid-range to me, around 30s, 20s, 30s. And it's higher carbonated.
Yeah, I was about to say, it does have a lot of carbonation.
It tastes like it has a lot of carbonation.
Yeah. It's not like it's,
which is unusual for Bocks.
Non-fizzy.
Yeah. Well, and again, it is German immigrants, but maybe they just decided to make their own take on it. A part of it is also potentially like that they just wanted to appeal to American tastes.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. So it's if you think about it, think of every American lager you can think of, right? Budweiser, but like
super light,
very very carbony, very
very.
So
light
that's what I was gonna say is like it's, I guess, the Americanized version of the German Bock.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it. Actually, kind of an idea I thought of for an episode was like if we were to drink like Bud Light or something and just analyze why it became so popular amongst Americans. Because to me, Bud Light is water.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Marketing.
That's probably
I guess, I mean, they use the same malts. I mean, typically it's barley malts.
Spend a lot of money on marketing. That's probably what it is.
They use barley as their grains, but I don't know. I mean, Bud Light, Budweiser, Coors Light, all of those like sort of lighter, easy to drink beers.
Oh,
I mean, they just
Budweiser's not a light beer.
I would agree.
Budweiser's a light beer.
I would agree that it's a pretty pale lager. Yeah, compared to like the Shiner, it's a pale lager.
Yeah.
So then it seems like a lot, especially from you're telling me that IPAs are originally British, and then now Bocks are German, or at least of German origin. At the very least, lagers are also of German origin. Mm-hmm. So it seems like a lot of the more like farther, I guess, west you go, mentioning Europe, like the more strongly flavored that the people like their alcohol. That's what it seems like to me.
It would be East.
Yeah.
Not
East.
West.
We are the West.
Shit, yeah, the East.
I thought you said West.
I thought you said West. No, yeah. So
but I mean, there's definitely a correlation there. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Oi, bruv,
Typically-
give me a pint, bruv.
God damn it.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
What I will say is that Americans apparently can't fucking handle dark beers in most cases. Like there are,
Yeah, 'cause I was
there are
thinking
craft beer enthusiasts.
If you're like an
but-
exchange student or you're visiting like United States and you order like a beer and they give you like a Budweiser and be like, oh, this is like, this is nothing. This is
Yeah.
nothing compared to what I
And
drink
I'm
back
sure
home.
Your,
You know,
your Irish listeners
Yeah.
can attest to this. It's like it's
The
noth-
Irish.
It's
Oh,
nothing.
dude, yeah.
It's,
Well,
it's
and
almost
'cause
like
I've talked
drinking.
about this before. Ireland
Yeah.
is known because their water is a lot harder than American water.
Hard water, yeah.
So that water is really good for stouts
Really?
because the water matters when you brew your
water
beer.
Yeah, what you're talking about.
Like you actually
IPAs,
when
yeah.
you're home brewing, and I've been doing a lot of research on home brewing too because I want to start home brewing.
Do it.
But when you're home brewing, you have to take into account your water too. Like you can't just use bottled water. You can't just use sink
Right.
water. You have to find filtered water, like
filtered.
clean. You can
Yeah.
boil it if you want to, but there are different, like there are even minerals that you could add to the water to make
change
it,
the
yeah,
flavor.
to change the
Almost.
flavor profile of the water.
Which was what I remember I told you was like one of the selling points of Coors.
Right.
Because they say like they use like mountain water or some shit like that.
Yep, we did
Apparently.
talk
That's
about
like their
that.
whole big marketing.
It's just like their
That
marketing.
was like
yeah,
their whole thing,
Their
yeah.
selling point, yeah. So
Yep.
it makes a big
man.
difference. And then IPAs are supposed to use originally what that water with absinthe, what it's called, the mineral. I forgot what the fuck it's called.
Gypsum?
Gypsum. There we go.
Which
That
you
is
were-
nowhere
Absinthe?
near.
Absinthe?
I don't
What
know
the
why-
fuck was
I
that
don't know why I
word?
call it
What
absinthe,
kind of
but,
anime stuff
You
you
just
watching at
made
home?
up a
Jesus
word.
Christ!
I've been watching this Western, so it's probably something from the Western.
Are you talking about Westworld?
No, I'm talking about.
Wayne's World.
Have you seen The Highwaymen on Netflix? That's a
I
good-
have seen
that's
Highwayman.
That's a good ass movie.
That's a really good movie.
It's a
Willie
good ass
Nelson
movie,
and
the older guy. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
God damn it! I
It's
know.
like
I'm
he's like a football coach in like other movies. That's all I remember.
he's
him.
Superman's dad. I'm trying to think of his
Yeah,
fucking
Superman's
name.
dad.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
There he is.
I don't know his name, but yeah,
Anyways, all right. So we took a slight
like
2-minute break.
like a little break. Yeah.
and we just got some.
Get some
We got some
refills
glasses so that Goyo could have his observation of the color of
Yes,
Shiner.
I want to observe the color.
Get the
Goyo,
crack on
It's
here.
like a.
Real quick, what does your glass say?
It says nice to Misha,
Miche,
Miche, like michelada.
like
I don't-
michelada.
Maybe I'm
It's
saying it
from
too.
work. It's from
saying it.
work.
Too, I'm
The
saying
only
it too
Mexican I
Mexican.
know that's
Yeah.
Mexican.
Nice to meet you. Because it's a michelada.
Correct.
There you go. Sorry, I had to switch to
Get
the.
crack. Oh my god, this fucking thing doesn't want to crack.
Had to swing to the
Holy shit!
What are you doing?
the English vernacular.
You gotta
Jesus Christ!
right in front. And go.
Oh.
Did you hear how much he has? Did you hear his hands stretching?
It was
for
like
that
it was
shit?
like
No.
fucking.
Well, my hands are still kind of raw, so.
They're nice and raw.
What are you having a malfunction over there?
Dude,
Jesus
I
Christ!
couldn't fucking get it open. Look at how much fucking like
That was a lot of
smoke
force.
Carbonation?
came out of there.
There's a lot of force. It was pressurized. It's a pressurized cabin, sir.
What are you saying?
Thank you
Jesus.
for flying Air Shiner today.
Do you not know how to pour a beer? Why do you have so much head on your?
I don't know. I think it actually looks really good though. It kind of observes the full.
I mean, that's how beers look when
Yeah.
they have a little bit of hops.
the full experience. It's a beautiful. I want to say like almost like amber, like maple syrup color. I want to say. See,
Look, I will say, if
something-
your piss looks like this,
something
you need a
positive.
doctor.
No, you need to go to the hospital now.
no, but it's a beautiful like caramel syrupy color. It reminds me of
I would
maple
say,
syrup.
I was gonna say very much like
it
maple
reminds
syrup.
me of maple syrup. It makes me want to like get pancakes. That's what it does.
Yeah. Well, and this would probably pair really well, or this does pair really well with food. I pretend
Yeah.
I can pretend that I don't know that it pairs really well with food, but I know for
Yeah,
a fucking
it
fact
does. It does pair very
that
well.
it pairs very well with
Oh
food.
yeah,
So
some good
color,
buffalo
though.
wings.
some Buffy wings.
Go ahead.
So we're going over. We
Very
were,
true.
We were on Beardom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on Nerddom.
Now we're gonna transition to
Oh, yeah.
nerddom.
Here it comes. So I wanted to clarify. So last week the question was, what was your favorite nerddom,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And Goyo asked me this, and I said World War II, which is true. But
You say World War II?
yeah, I love to study World War II.
I said
Okay.
favorite nerddom, and then I added like fictional or I think otherwise
You did-
as like
okay.
an afterthought.
which is exactly. And
So-
somebody mentioned that to me. They were like,
Yeah.
he did say fictional, and I was like, oh, fuck.
But it was like a more of a like it wasn't that serious. So I mean, if you said history nerddom or like nerdiness, it's fine too. It's not like a
Yeah.
it's not like
Well,
a super.
but I will say,
Absolute-
somebody asked me and they said, yeah, well, he said fictional, so what's your fictional nerddom? So the favorite fandom was actually, my favorite fandom is actually The Walking Dead.
Really?
I fucking love that show.
The comics or the show?
So a combination of both. I like the show. I don't necessarily like some of the directions that they've taken, which deviate from the comics.
Right. So, I've personally only read maybe the first comic of The Walking Dead.
I haven't read any of them, so I wouldn't know.
I will say I really did enjoy the show. I haven't seen. Is it still running? Is it still going?
They're on season 11.
Yeah. So
what the fuck?
I think when I stopped watching,
they're following the comics as much as they can. They're building to a finale, and then they're gonna have 3 movies that center around Rick Grimes. I assume that it's gonna center around like the new city that they found, but yeah.
So I gotta ask, have you seen what was it, Fear the Walking Dead, kind of like the origins?
I have, of course.
I personally kind of like that one a little bit better, only in the sense of. So The Walking Dead, it kind of throws you into it. You don't know what the hell is happening. This one, I kind of like it's a relatively slow transition of what's going on.
Yeah.
So, and because it's also shot in Austin, Texas. But a good chunk of it, at least.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
A good chunk of it is shot
That's cool.
in Austin. But I like the storytelling behind that. Kind of is like, the origins, if you will.
I can hear so much of Goyle's breathing, bro.
Sorry, I didn't know you could hear my breathing.
That's because you don't have headphones on.
My bad.
So Walking Dead is my favorite fandom. I'm not going to get too much into it just because I've already basically covered this. Yes, 100%.
What the fuck? I'm trying to how do I just...
I felt like you were breathing all harder when he called you out on that.
I got a little excited.
He's like, can you hear that?
It's because he exerted physical force, bro. Like he had to actually use some energy there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how's this? Is it better?
Just do us all a favor and stop breathing.
Yeah, I'll just stop breathing. Yeah.
Just fucking cease oxygenation to your body.
I'll just stop breathing.
Well, and that's why I kind of do this to kind of avoid having my nose up in the mic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm not gonna get too much into it. God damn it!
Jesus Christ!
Oh, there's gonna be so much editing right here, bro. You're creating work for me.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm just laughing. There's nothing bad about it. Just laughing.
You're gonna be talking here, wheezing in the background.
laughing to myself.
It's like that little penguin from Toy Story in the background.
Oh my god!
You have to go to get him. He's just fucking wheezing because he has the wheezy squeaker, bro. Oh man, classic.
Anyways.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm not gonna get too into it, but Walking Dead is probably the one thing that as far as like fictional fandom goes or nerddom, whatever. That's the one that I studied the most. And I don't know if there's necessarily anything to study necessarily. I have in the back of my mind, and I haven't written any of this, which by the way, actually I'm going to plug this right here. Website up and running, dude. Nerdsandslurredwords.com.
It's very cool. Very cool. Manny put a lot of work. I put a little bit of work, but Manny did most of it.
It looks great. Goyo did help out. He put one short story on there.
Like one thing.
It's available for everybody to read, but yes, nerdsandslurredwords.com if you guys want to check it out. Please go check it out. We've got some cool blog posts.
It's very cool. All
the podcasts are going to be up on there, and we're going to start putting them on YouTube, soon. So we'll have cameras and everything like that. But anyways,
yeah, if you'd like to listen to it, if you don't want to listen onto the podcast platforms for whatever reason, you can also find the podcast.
You can go the hard way and go on the website.
On the website, yeah.
So anyways, yeah. So there are actually several blog posts that I want to write about analyses of specific points in time in The Walking Dead, like for example the death of Shane, when Rick kills him, almost like Shane is proud of Rick for actually going through and killing him. There's a lot of different points where there's really deep meanings that if you don't look at them, there's some interesting stuff there. Really good writing by Robert Kirkman, and yeah, so just a little plug. I'm not going to go too deep into it right now because I already gave my nerddom, but so the question that I wanted to ask Rowan, and we have another question, we have another topic to talk about.
We have two. We usually have two questions.
Yeah,
so.
but as our first official guest, I wanted to ask you what your official favorite nerddom is.
Your favorite nerddom is.
I think so. You asked me this yesterday, and I had to kind of think about it because I'm the same way with movies, books. I really don't have a set favorite. I kind of enjoy pieces of all of them, so I'm kind of gonna cheat here. I'm gonna kind of do a twofer. you can't go wrong. Like I mentioned earlier, I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. A lot of people do, man.
Yeah, and like
with good reason.
With good reason.
Yeah, exactly.
It really is masterful.
That's what I wanted to touch on. It's
a masterful creation.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love the Dark Knight trilogy.
Everything
after that,
also a masterful trilogy. Christopher Nolan, some of his best work.
So like I feel like with the DC Cinematic Universe or what they're trying,
it's very
DC Cinematic. It's very like inconsistent. You have like 18 different like Batman stories and stuff like that. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas the Marvel Cinematic Universe, for the most part, it's pretty much one storyline.
They maintain the continuity.
Well, I don't know. Not anymore.
I don't know. Well, okay. I will say this though. Obviously, we've had 3 different Spider-Man.
So
they're gonna tie that together.
I hope so. I pray to God.
I think that's the great kind of thing. Like the thinking behind the Marvel Cinematic is they're trying to tie it in. So like I'm gonna use the Batman.
They're trying to make it make sense.
I'm gonna use the Batman story as an example. So you have the Dark Knight trilogy, which, like you said, probably one of the best trilogies, right?
Yeah, I think that
I would
Joker,
say.
Heath Ledger's Joker is pretty
right.
like
by
far.
So now you have
makes it really good.
I will preface this. I haven't seen either one of these. You have the 2 Suicide Squads, which from what my understanding is
you haven't seen either of them.
No,
the second one is better.
And then so you have the Batman series, and then on Netflix you have that Gotham series, which totally conflicting storylines on how Batman was created.
Yep.
Now you can argue, it's a multiverse, whatever. But fine.
Yeah. I thought Gotham was actually really good. I think Gotham is really good.
So
in my opinion.
I like the show.
Yeah.
But like coming from my first kind of exposure to it was the Dark Knight trilogy and how he became Batman.
Yeah, very different.
And then going to
like 2 different stories almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just hard for me to follow, hard for me to get into.
Yeah.
So real quick about that, and then my other all-time favorite is probably the Halo universe.
Oh, that's a good nerd.
That's a good ass fucking man. That's a good choice.
So I got into the Halo franchise. Halo 1, no Xbox Live. I wasn't rich enough for that. And so I actually didn't start playing religiously until probably Halo Reach.
Okay.
But I went so far as to read a bunch of the Halo books, mostly written by Eric Nyland. Probably the best books I've ever read in this terms of storytelling, consistency, stuff like that, and a lot of stuff you also don't get in the games. Like
expands on like the
I like to think like that's exactly how a proper Halo movie would kind of play out.
Yeah, they've done a live
they've done
action.
a couple of Halo
I will
movies.
say
which wasn't horrible.
The Forward Unto Dawn was pretty good.
Yeah.
I will say that was
that's
a
what
really
I'm talking
good
about.
one.
Yeah.
I think I watched that one on Netflix when it was
it's on
there
YouTube
at some point.
actually.
You can watch
it really?
on YouTube. Yeah. I liked it, but at the same time, it doesn't really give you anything more than Captain Lasky's story, right? Whereas I think the books do a great job saying how John was picked, his kind of trials throughout the selection process.
And how how he becomes like this legendary. Who he is,
and how young. Like
then they get him
into perspective how young these quote unquote Spartans are. Like quite literally young
little
teenagers.
Kids,
13, 14-year-olds saving the galaxy. So I just think it's a very long-lived series. I think. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
One of the few Xbox exclusive that has remained exclusive.
That is true. Well,
that's very true.
I don't know if you want to count that with PC anymore.
Well, that is true. I mean, to be fair, it's Microsoft owned, but yes, you're right. The Master Chief Collection did release on PC.
Yeah, because I know that's like one of like Xbox's greatest battle cries. Like, we have Halo, and so like, I mean, it was pretty good. That's probably why I continue to buy Xboxes just to play Halo.
Yep.
But I never really got into it like competitively. It was more for fun. Call of Duty was always for that.
Competitive Halo can be sweaty.
I remember watching it.
It's a different
back
beast.
When MLG was a huge thing.
That was like I think that was probably the first. From what I remember, like one of the first major esports.
I think it was
competition.
I think
right. The
I
first
think, I think
Unreal
Halo
series.
and Gears of War probably gave it their best.
You also have the Unreal Tournament series.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah. You're right. But Halo was like probably like in its time, in its prime, the first Halo was like the most popular first person shooter ever, or at that point, and the hype even before Call of Duty was, and Call of Duty was popular.
Was that the first one with online players? At Halo 2?
No, the first one had online play because I remember pirating it on.
It wasn't immediate though. It wasn't immediate.
Yeah, maybe it was in a later edition.
This is in the age for those of you who are younger of
Before-
LAN parties without internet, where you and a group of friends have to bring TVs and cables and find a way to.
That's what we
keep
do.
from
And
screen
then the
peeking.
amount of heat that was put out, you
There's
would
a
all
lot
be
of
shirtless.
everybody's like
Oh,
sweating
yeah.
and shit.
Yeah. So, and it kind of sad to say this, but I actually never beat the Halo Combat Evolved campaign until the Master Chief Collection came out.
Shit, dude, really?
Really, the first one I ever completed was Halo 2.
Wow, you never beat the original campaign?
Not till
it's so good.
Not till the Master Chief Collection.
My
came
favorite level is when you're in the flood, when you're in the fucking machine.
out. The Grave Mine, yeah.
and the flood are coming at you like at all that fucking scared. I was playing like at night and I was scared, bro.
I remember.
seriously.
I remember
The little-
legitimate fear.
The little bug things, bro. I fucking hated those, bro.
I mean, I played this game when I was like fucking 12.
Oh yeah, no, for real.
Okay, well, I played it when I was like fucking like 16. And I was like 16, but still. I don't know.
No, I mean, I played this game when I was like 12, and I remember legitimate fear like coursing through my veins when I saw the fucking flood.
So to add to that,
I mean,
like,
because they look fucking freaky. Way.
Yeah, they're
look
all like nasty with their little tentacles.
Yeah.
and shit.
not only that, like,
They remind me of ticks.
credit where credit is due.
Wow.
I think Halo has one of the best. Tell me if I'm wrong. Musical soundtracks of all time.
Yeah, that's what I think
that makes the game.
That makes the game, like the soundscape. The soundscape is really important. The same thing with movies too, and television. Is the soundscape is very important and it immerses you in the world.
Yeah.
And so I 100% agree. I mean, everybody, all the boys know the theme
Well,
song.
everybody
knows.
You hear the fucking intro, and
you're like,
immediately,
you know right away.
and then because I even know, like, when Halo 4 came out, if you haven't played it, that intro song was so garbage. It was like
Really?
like it was like
I
some
haven't
lady
played. I haven't played any of the new ones.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's all right, but
you know what's low key like a favorite thing of mine to do is like sometimes like I'll just go on YouTube and I'll just hear like I'll listen to like dudes that like go into stairwells or they go into like
the bathrooms,
really
or something
echoey
like that.
areas.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lady on TikTok that does that. She does it in the stairwell.
Yeah, I've seen her.
Yeah, have you
I've
seen her?
Yeah,
she
sounds
popular.
great too.
Yeah, she's a talented vocalist and she does that. I think there was like the comment on one of her like previous videos that said, "Hey, if you do the Halo theme song, the boys will get you to like 1 billion or like 1 million views or whatever."
Yeah,
and then of course they did because I mean,
everybody
ever loves that.
And she did it in a stairwell, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
The echo was
the
perfect. I mean, the reverberation.
The acoustics of that area is like really badass.
What a great fan! What a great choice!
Yeah, what a great choice! What a fucking solid choice, dude! Holy shit! I remember my first exposure to Halo when I was like a really like little kid, probably like 5. I used to be babysat by family friends, and one of the babysitters was like an older guy. His name was Nick, and that used to babysit me. And he had at the time like a gaming PC, like way back in the day, like early 2000s gaming PC. And so he would play Halo. And I remember one time walking into like his little room because my parents would drop me off and they'd babysit me. And I'm walking into like his like computer area or whatever, and he's playing a multiplayer match. And so I go fuck around with it. And so I'm playing the game, fucking around. And so I'm like ruining his KD, bro. Because I'm getting decimated because I'm a little fucking like 8-year-old kid or 10-year-old kid. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, how do I play? And then so I'm fucking around, and he gets super pissed off. He's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, it's so pissed off. Oh man, I remember he chewed me out a little bit, but then he saw like I was getting like sad that I was gonna cry. He was like, "No, you can watch me.
No,
okay?
yeah,
Just chill out."
My older brother, so when he was in
like
high school,
first,
he was in ROTC, which at that time was like a pretty cool gig. People who were in it were actually going to enjoy. Anyways, so they would have like major LAN parties at our house. Like every room, they'd be 2-3
So you
TVs.
had like full on LAN parties.
I felt like looking back at it, I felt like I was at like COD Champs or the MLG.
Yeah, they go hard.
Something.
Oh shit!
Like it was like they were all about it, and then
Damn.
like Halo. I still remember Halo 2, like that specific loading screen where you have the Marie sitting on the couch. If you remember that, just little things like that. It's like goddamn, like.
Takes you back.
Like in a way, like they don't make them like that anymore. You
Dude,
can't.
I mean, just think of the loading screen for like Modern Warfare 2 or like Black Ops 1. I mean, if I were to hear that loading screen again, I mean, I would be instantly teleported back. But no, yeah, I agree. The soundscape definitely has a lot to contribute to it. I mean, and to be honest, arguably, Halo set the sort of the bar for what makes a cinematic game. Because
That's
up until
correct.
then, they were not really necessarily focused on the cinematics of a game or necessarily the storyline. I'm sure there were plenty of good ones out there, but yeah. So I in my opinion, yeah, Halo definitely set the bar for those soundscapes that you were talking about. Because Halo,
Yeah.
I mean, again,
Yeah.
the very first game, I mean, the soundtrack is absolutely iconic. Like, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
and originally it was an orchestra, right? And then they converted it at a certain point to orchestra and electric guitar,
Right.
which was actually, I think it was Steve Vai that played the electric guitar for that record when they rewrote it and they remastered it.
Yeah.
I think Steve Vai was the fucking guitarist for that. If you don't
Okay.
know who Steve Vai
Yeah,
is, you're fucking
I was about to
pathetic.
enlighten me because I'm uncultured.
He's a fucking amazing
Yeah.
guitarist. He's a legendary guitarist. His guitar, he's known for like his guitar. It has a little handle built into it. It's an electric guitar. It's pretty cool.
So I think what also helped with that series is that it's not so far fetched.
Yeah.
In the
I guess
sense
so,
of
yeah.
like it's modern humanity. Well, 500 years in the future,
it's
right?
pretty advanced
It's
humanity. They had, like, Spidey
yeah, but
spaceships and
it's
shit.
not something like, oh, we got superheroes running around. No, this is something that
It might
maybe one
in
day,
the
yeah.
future it might be feasible.
And so,
yeah.
like you talked about setting the stage, like for future games. Like up until then, like think of the greatest games, the Call of Duty trilogy, the Modern Warfare trilogy, right?
We're all rooted in
Nothing-
realism. Yeah,
Like
very
before Halo,
realistic.
there was nothing like that. After Halo is when you started seeing all these story-based multiplayer games coming
That's
out.
very true. That's true.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it set the stage and
Would you say that Halo is probably the most
influential.
influential?
I would
most
say probably the
significant
most influential first-person shooter.
that's narrative driven? Because I mean, the narrative
right behind
is,
Doom.
But Doom is
Doom was
Doom narrative driven.
No, not narrative driven. Doom was
yeah.
what started 3D shooters.
Doom is what you would call like a classic shoot 'em up. It's just about killing things.
Yes, but
There's no
but
real,
what's
like-
important about
there's a
Doom
narrative,
is that
but
it was
it's
the
not like-
it was the very first person 3D shooter
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
back in the 1980s.
Yeah. Damn,
Anyways.
that's a good fandom. Anyways, yeah, that's a great fandom.
Great fandom. Yeah. Great fandom.
The questions
honestly.
I remember, like I know you to mention like John 117 being like a kid, like a teenager when they get him, and then like really like that conundrum of like making children into soldiers.
Like the ethics.
Yeah,
behind
the
it,
ethics, the morality
Well,
of it,
yeah.
so
like
when they
somebody
picked him up,
into-
if I remember the books correctly, don't quote me on this. He was like 4 or 5 years
Yeah,
old.
he was like a
because
little
when they're
kid.
Spartans, they're in their early
Yeah.
teens.
they train you from your little kid.
Well,
to
and that's
be-
why
to be
they're
a
known
weapon.
as such not brutal necessarily, but they're just very skilled. You know, they're
Yeah.
they're
That and they were
equivalent of,
used
like
for
the
suicide
special
missions,
forces
too.
nowadays. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I mean, they're
for impossible situations.
yeah. They're the guys that you call like when it's an impossible job.
When
You know, it's something that can't
shit
get
has
done.
hit the fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like and it's just like and they're all augmented, so they have all this like bio what do they call it, bionics in them.
which would
bionics.
kill half the applicants anyway.
Yeah, so it's like totally like it's like what is justifiable in war, you know? Like what can you justify getting away with? Which is
and not just any war, like a war that could potentially
war that
end
could
wipe out
humanity.
your-
wipe
yeah.
out your race. You know, wipe out your
Because I mean,
species,
there's war that like a war between
yeah.
species, right? Like a sort of civil war, if you will, which is I mean, human on human, right? But
Yeah.
then there's aliens trying to wipe out your race. I mean, I
Yeah,
would think that you go to a whole other level.
It's not
to
like
justify,
Modern War,
you know,
where
ends.
survival of your species.
It's
Right,
not like
yeah.
Modern War. We're like, oh, I surrender. Okay, you go back to your country and we
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, we
It's like, hey,
sign
no,
a peace treaty.
You lose, you're done.
We're
Your
wiping
entire
you,
species
We're
is
wiping you
destroyed.
out. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I guess it's different. You know,
Yeah.
hypothetically, hopefully the never fucking happens, but
It's happening. Man.
yeah,
It's gonna
fuck,
happen.
man,
Yeah.
I don't know. Aliens
I'm
are
gonna-
real, baby. Pentagon. I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
So
what a good fandom, honestly.
yeah, that's a really badass fan. Great choice.
And honestly, probably shared by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think like even like was it Ninja? Like that's where he started too. Like that's
A lot of guys
Halo.
did.
Yeah.
But actually, I think Ninja. Well, yeah, he did start Halo. I guess Nick Merckx had to have started Halo too.
is this my blanket?
I don't think so.
Interesting.
Uh,
I was just thinking like I've had one.
Did I leave this here?
I think Nick Merckx also started on Halo. I
Right.
think, but I think he like gained a little bit more popularity on Gears of War before obviously Fortnite.
True.
Which obviously now
You mean the Warzone guy?
shut the fuck up.
Used to be.
He's
huge,
on
man.
Apex now, and Goyo
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna lie, Goyo and I are kind of addicted.
We're pretty.
I can't
pretty
get into
addicted,
it. If
bro.
I had
Dude.
time, I'd play with y'all. But
You gotta hop on, bro. We need a third.
True.
we
We
just Saturday
trios.
night.
Trios, bro, trios. I got like, I think I'm the same rank as Manny now. I was grinding.
Yeah, you actually, I think you passed me by a little bit.
No,
in arenas.
you're silver. You're silver 4
in arenas.
Yeah,
I'm silver 3.
Okay. Oh shit. So
I
then
think
what am I?
maybe I hit silver 2.
Maybe I'm silver 3 as well. I thought I was
Yeah,
silver
I have
2.
a 0.8 KD on Warzone.
I don't know.
Not
maybe
because I'm
silver.
good. I just don't
I know
play.
I'm silver something.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I was, but I was.
Anyways. Okay,
Anyways.
so it's not really a question, more of a topic, I guess. But there's a lot going on in the fucking MCU right now.
A lot, bro. They're popping off.
The
bro.
Marvel Cinematic Universe is
Popping off.
absolutely popping off.
And I remember telling Manny this like a long time ago. Like, it's such a masterful. Whoever thought of it, like whoever team of writers got into one room together and said, "This is the grand storyboard of things," and laid it all out because they have a plan. It's obviously has been very meticulously planned. Everything has its place along the timeline. So long.
It kind of makes you wonder how far in advance they plan.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. Like how many years
and how much are they continuing to plan?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've got
Because
phases
there's no way
upon
this was all
phases
planned at once.
Well, that's what I thought originally, at least for the first.
Yeah.
Because they're like in phase 4?
At this
3?
point, I believe they're in phase 4.
4?
Because
of the
3 was
MCU?
when everything ended.
So they have obviously planned phases. So who knows how many phases they're gonna be? You know.
I don't know.
And they've just like, you know, with the Loki series, you know, kind
They've
of opened
just
themselves
cracked the
up.
spectrum.
Yeah, opened themselves up to the multiverse, which is a question a lot of like big hardcore MCU fans, especially fans of the comics, was having. Like, when are we going to be introduced in the cinematic universe?
Well, because the
Kevin
comics
Feige-
themselves have a bunch of different universes.
comics are like, it's fucking like Earth 4412 and Earth 5156 and bunch of shit in the comics. It's like hard to follow, like especially for like my dad, who's like got me into comics, who's like an old school like 80s comics reader, who like when they're back in the day when there was only like one storyline, he's like I don't follow any of that shit like nowadays. He's like, I don't know any of the new shit. He's like, all I remember is like the old shit.
It's like the equivalent of college football. There's so many bowls to follow.
Yeah. So he's like, I don't know any of the new stuff. So like whenever something comes out, that's why he's always asking like me or my brother. He's like, so have you read that comic? I'm like, no, Dad. I don't know. I don't know about this one, Dad.
And I mean the Marvel Cinematic Universe in general, they're going all kinds of crazy directions right now.
Yeah.
I mean, start with Loki.
Multiverse is
Like,
gonna be
okay,
wild.
actually, let's pull it back to WandaVision a little bit. I mean, we have the end of the last movie that was released before WandaVision was Endgame,
Right.
Yeah.
right, and that in itself, you know, fairly normal.
and
We
we had
expected that ending.
It
was the typical
it was
good
known.
versus evil thing that you get.
triumph
you know,
at the very end. Yeah.
WandaVision deals with what a lot of questions people had, because a lot of people were like, well, what the fuck happened to the people that got snapped back?
Yeah.
People that lost homes,
It seems to
they lost
answer the
jobs.
questions.
I mean, they had trauma, right? And I mean, everybody was like, well, how the fuck can that possibly
Well, the world
just
moved
be
on.
like a Cinderella ending, right?
The world
Right.
moved on because if those people disappeared, so it's like, well, I got to pick up the pieces.
Exactly, yeah. Everybody moved on. Everybody was like, no, I mean,
and then they came back and they're like to a totally different world.
Well, and you can't blame them. I mean, there was 5 years past. I mean, they had they had time to grieve and they moved on.
And they moved on.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
it's human nature.
And WandaVision deals with that. WandaVision talks about not only the grief of other people, because obviously WandaVision does touch a little bit on, you know, the aftermath of even after Endgame when people were snapped back.
True.
Because you would think, oh, that's a great thing. Well, but what about if they were in the fucking air when they got snapped out?
Yeah.
And then they get brought back and they're mid fucking air, 30,000 feet.
Yeah, true.
They're dead. I mean, there are
they're
people
dead.
that died regardless. You know, I mean, there's a lot of repercussions to what happened, and WandaVision dealt with that aftermath.
Or what if you get snapped and then you find out like your husband or your wife is like married to somebody else?
Exactly, and that happened.
Which like that reminds me of another show. It's on Netflix. I think it's called like Manifest.
Yeah.
And the same thing happens.
Same concept.
I haven't
Same
seen it yet, but
same,
there are
same concept. I don't know if it's like a wormhole they enter, and to them they're like, oh, it's just a bumpy flight. But it's like what 5-6 years that passed.
5-6 years that they land. Finally.
Well, and it's very similar because I think with the snap, the thought process was that the people that were snapped out didn't recognize time had passed. So when they were brought back, they thought nothing had happened.
Like what happened? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Kind of the same concept of this show.
Kind of similar concept.
Same
yeah.
concept.
But you know, WandaVision explores that, right? WandaVision explores the aftermath of that, and obviously the grief of
very specifically
Wanda
the
Maximoff
grief of Wanda.
You know, after losing Vision, because obviously the love of her life, and he first tries to sacrifice himself And to me, what is so heart-wrenching about this point is because he tries to sacrifice himself. He tries to give himself for the greater good. And Thanos, I mean, almost like violatingly brings him back and then rips the stone out of his head anyways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like his sacrifice was for nothing, basically. And I mean, again, it feels like almost like violating to me. You know, is what he did to Vision, right? And so Wanda has to deal with that grief because he was one of the people that didn't get snapped back. A lot of people got to be with their significant others, or, you know, there were obviously people who got snapped out and their significant others went and married someone else, whatever. But a lot of people got to reunite with those people, but Vision was not one of those people. Vision was killed by Thanos with his hand. He didn't kill him with, you know, the snap. So he was one of those people that didn't get to come back. So Wanda deals with that. And obviously the timeline of WandaVision, we start to find out about the power of Wanda. I mean, she fucking brings another version of Vision to life.
Yeah.
And then, you know, obviously we find out that the government builds White Vision, right? But I mean, Wanda herself will literally projects and acts like Soul Stone style. She projects.
Right. She creates an alternate reality. That's what she does.
Right. And
or multiple.
And it brings the question. Yeah. Not only does she bring Vision back, Soul Stone style, she also alters reality. Reality Stone style.
Yeah, she even has kids.
Yeah. Which in the show at the end, in the end credits, actually reach out to her through a rip in reality.
Yeah.
Like, that's time and space stone.
And they also introduced the Darkhold, which is like a very classic, you know, Wanda or Scarlet Witch, because she's the Scarlet Witch,
right?
Which is like which was had always confused me because they didn't call her Scarlet Witch when she originally joined the Avengers. They called Wanda. And so now that this, Wanda,
I mean, it's pretty commonly known that she's a Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, everybody knows who she was, but they never dropped the name until WandaVision. And at the very end, she assumed the mantle of the Scarlet Witch.
Right.
And she's actually...
Like that's the beauty of it, too, because they use kind of like the cinematic universe as her origin story,
Yeah, they develop her character.
Yeah, it wasn't just like, boom,
she wasn't
Scarlet Witch.
She wasn't always the Scarlet Witch. She was Wanda
she grew
before.
into it.
Well, and because she was introduced, you know, into the Darkhold, into the
which is
the sorcery aspects of her powers, because I mean, she knew that she had power. She knew that she was crazy powerful and all that. But she was introduced to the fact that there are spells, there are incantations, there are actual like laws to what she can do. You know what I mean? Like there's a science to it almost. So I mean, it was very different for her.
In the comics, it's a little different. Her origin is a little different because if I remember correctly, and I don't know if this is always true, because like we're talking about like the multiverse and how there's a bunch of different origin stories now, especially in the comics. But I remember her being the daughter of Magneto. She's actually a mutant that becomes an Avenger.
In the origin story, that's exactly what happened.
She's a daughter of Magneto. And but she's also known in the comics, I think just generally, as probably one of the most powerful Avengers because she can literally manipulate reality. Yeah. And so her mutant powers allow her to like project into people's minds and then alter like reality herself. She's like one of those. I know like in the X-Men they have like rankings of mutants. She's like an Omega level. So she's like really fucking powerful. Like, you know, like world-ending, world threat type level.
Right next to what's her name from Wolverine?
Jean Grey.
Who's
a dark phoenix who becomes like possessed by this like cosmic spirit and shit. Yeah, it's like a really weird storyline.
But again, she's one of those types of
like Omega, world ending.
But again, so that and the MCU really tries to tie that in with WandaVision. Obviously, we find out that we already knew that she was a mutant, right? Because she was created as a mutant, you know, as part of experiments.
Yeah, she gets her powers from the Mind Stone in this version of the
which is crazy because she eventually is able to not only project the Mind Stone, she's able to project the Soul Stone, she's able to project the Space Stone, the Reality Stone, like
pretty much all the stones.
She almost is the fucking Infinity Goblet.
Yeah, she's pretty powerful.
Gauntlet. You know, so I mean, it's kind of crazy what WandaVision introduced into the MCU. Where they really show, first of all, the power of Wanda Maximoff. But then they also dipped into the multiverse because her kids in the show reached out to her through a rip in time. Which I mean, they were not supposed to exist, right? So, I mean, she basically conjured them out of thin air. And, I mean, what she was basically doing was ripping into other realities and pulling those kids through.
And for all we know, the events of Loki might coincide, like, be simultaneous with the...
Right.
With WandaVision and the timeline of Earth. Because of course, Loki's in whatever in the TVA. So and we don't know how. And even the characters in the TVA say that the time works differently in that pocket dimension, which is what Wanda creates in her little town, her like fake town. Right. Her grieving, her grieving simulation is how she grieves. Right. She makes a pocket dimension. Is what it is. What they call it in the comics too is the pocket dimensions. So like the TVA would be an example of pocket dimension. The town that Wanda takes over and like possesses all of the people, which is like again kind of harkening her back to her powers in the comics, where she can go inside people's minds. Also kind of questions
her morality.
Yeah. It also questions her morality, which is again is another thing that is also brought up in the comics. Is just how powerful she is. She's able to fucking control she's mind controlling you and shit. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And so we don't. So if at the very end of WandaVision, perhaps that's when they kill. I don't know. If you haven't watched Loki, you should really watch it. So I'm gonna drop a spoiler. So if you haven't seen it,
hold on. I want to get to something first.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I will say, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was a good show, but it doesn't necessarily explore the multiverse at all. To me.
No, it doesn't. Well, yeah, it's more of like an origins of the new Captain America.
Correct. It just plays off of Captain America. Right. It introduces the Dark Avengers as well. It does? Yeah, well, that's what the
Resistance people. The U.S. agent.
Yes, the U.S. agent, and then at the end of another spoiler.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna blanket this right now. Yeah. If you are not caught up on Marvel, fucking exit right now because we're about to spoil a lot of shit. All right, so Black Widow, her sister at the end, is also recruited. If you saw the end scene, she gets recruited when she's standing over Hawkeye. When she's standing over Natasha's grave, she gets recruited and she's being manipulated, obviously, into killing Hawkeye, like you said. But yes, she's also recruited. She becomes one of the Dark Avengers, I think. But or at least that's what they're kind of alluding to.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah,
really.
But when you get into Loki, whole other fucking thing. Like you said. Outside of time, it's a pocket universe. The time runs differently there. There are a lot of theories revolving around that. Like, for example, that the TVA actually is located in the quantum realm.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's
because, true. Like, if you rewatch Ant-Man, they talk about how time runs differently in the quantum realm.
Yeah, similarities, yeah.
And actually, in Ant-Man 2, you can kind of catch a brief glimpse of a city in the quantum realm. And nothing is ever explained. It's like a frame,
like a brief second,
that you can catch, but it's there
when they're going to save the mom,
right? And people before Loki was originally released, people were theorizing that was the city run by Kang the Conqueror, who
was like one of the most infamous comic book villains,
probably the next antagonist.
Yeah, the next.
I would imagine the next big antagonist
of the Avengers, probably, or whoever
of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Whoever inherits the mantle, I guess, of the Avengers.
Right. Well, and that's what Loki plays. Loki explores all of that. Loki goes into the timeline. Obviously not just Loki himself, but like the show.
Yeah.
It breaks into that timeline. It shows you that as of right now, or at least as of what that timeline shows, time is linear. Right. And it goes in a circle, obviously, but it is one singular timeline. And then at the end of that, Sylvie kills Nathaniel Richards. And boom,
we find out who we find out is Kang the Conqueror.
Right. Well,
a version,
and
a variant.
I will say.
So yeah, if you haven't seen Loki, you need to go watch it. It's very integral to the next phase of the MCU.
Yes.
It's like the landmark, that's a series you need to watch to understand what happens. You might not need to watch WandaVision, even though it's probably recommended. You might not need to see Widow or Shang-Chi, but watch Loki if you want to understand the next shit that happens. You need to watch that. That's probably the most important piece of MCU shit.
If you're going to understand anything,
like setting the stage.
Yeah, setting the stage. Yeah, exactly. Right. Setting the stage. You have to watch that to understand.
And if you're going to watch any of the next Marvel movies, you need to watch Loki to be able to understand.
Yeah, to understand where. Fuck, I hope Spider-Man fucking taps into that shit, dude.
All right, I'm going to just toss this in there right now because you know what? I'm not going to get into Spider-Man yet, but. Yeah. I will say this. I 100% know Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to come out. You know why?
How do you know,
because they're casted. That's why.
Hold on.
Oh, shit. I didn't see that.
Okay. So people released pictures of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield both in Spider-Man suits. And a lot of people said, well, these photos are doctored. They're photographed. I mean, they're photoshopped.
They're photoshopped. Yeah, they're fake.
And then Sony went and claimed fucking copyrights on the photos.
And it was basically cemented like,
dumbass.
They fucking gave themselves away.
Yeah, why would they do that? Stupid.
Okay, I will say Sony has basically said that the next trailer is going to include Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
Really?
Yes.
What the fuck? Where have I been?
So there was actually like secret like.
What the fuck?
You know how, like,
it's just about like finite at this point. Like it's confirmed.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire and
bless.
Andrew Garfield are going to reprise their roles
God
as their
bless.
respective Spider-Man in the new Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, because I saw something I think last week where it's like it was like a snippet of like an IMDb post. You know, like it happens all the time with the new Call of Duties, with any new game of like what's going on.
I'll take another one. He's offering us more beer.
Mine.
I'll take.
Where they'll accidentally like leak the cast list and stuff like that, and so I saw that happen with the newest one. Where all three of them were actually cast in it.
Shit. I guess
if I'm not mistaken, I don't know what her face is.
I honestly just blew on the mic and I might have fucked up your waveform, but whatever.
Yeah, it's okay. If I'm not mistaken, the original I forgot her name, the one who plays MJ in the very first with the Tobey Maguire one.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
I believe she's casted too.
Really?
Is she really?
I think that's what I saw.
The original MJ. What's her name?
I don't know. I just care about Zendaya.
Yeah, no shit.
Doesn't
everybody care about Zendaya?
Shake it up.
Dunst is the last name Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst. That's the name.
Is that
of
her
the
name?
actress. I think so.
I don't know. I recognize the name Kirsten Dunst. I'm not 100% sure.
She's MJ in the original.
I believe
Tobey
so.
Maguire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we're wrong, we're wrong. But
if we're wrong, then hey,
yeah,
we won't get copyrighted.
Yeah, we won't get copyrighted.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So, but again, going back
that's
to Loki,
badass. I really hope so.
Going back to Loki, though, like, so a big part of it is that we also don't know. I mean, it's not 100% confirmed that the person that came back was Kang the Conqueror, right?
I mean,
so
if you watch the ending scene,
hold on. Nathaniel Richards does say, he's like, obviously I've been known by many names.
Yeah.
And Conqueror is
like
one of them.
That's the best line. That's the best line in the fucking...
He also calls it, he also says jerk.
Yeah.
Is one of the other names
he says like jerk. I've been known by jerk, king, conqueror. And as soon as he said that, I was like, oh shit, it's him. And I fucking knew it.
It was a little nod to it, yes. But Kang the Conqueror does not officially, it's not been officially announced that it's him that came back. What I will say is that when Loki goes back to Mobius to try to talk to him, obviously Mobius doesn't recognize him, and he's like, you're an analyst, figure it out, basically, right? When we pan over to the statue of Nathaniel Richards, by the way, Nathaniel Richards is he who remains. If you guys don't know him by name, he's the end. Again, what we assume is going to be the antagonist.
Again, go watch Loki.
Yes,
it's very important.
He's the guy that Sylvie kills at the end. If you don't know him by name, we assume he's Kang the Conqueror. But the outfit that he's wearing matches Kang the Conqueror's outfit in Marvel. The statue of him matches it.
Especially
what I will say is that it's a big deviation from the comics.
Really?
Kang the Conqueror never led the TVA. He never controlled the TVA.
Yeah, in that aspect. Yeah, he comes from an alternate universe and antagonizes the Avengers, but he is one of like the big bats. He's one of the big bats. He's like up there with Thanos. At no point did he control the TVA, which is going to make it interesting. That's different
because in the series, or rather in Loki, one of the things that we hear them say is that Kang, who we assume is Kang at the least, intentionally allowed them to allow the timeline to branch. Like that's what they said. Like they were as Loki approaches Mobius, they were saying like, oh, well, he said to let it go, like to stop pruning or something like that, or something along those lines. So like, whoever it is, whatever reason, he intentionally allowed the multiverse to branch. He intentionally allowed the timeline to branch, which obviously is different from what we know is because Sylvie killed Nathaniel Richards that let the timeline branch.
Well, the variant. I mean, they're all different.
All of them are variants.
Yeah, Sylvie is evidence of that. Is a variant of Loki himself.
Right.
So and every variant has their own machinations. They're all independent. Sentient versions of one being.
Well, and all of this, I assume, is going to tie into Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
Yep.
I mean, it's called Multiverse of Madness. I mean, fucking obvious, right? But anyway,
if that's not a spoiler, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home. Let's go on to that. Spider-Man No Way Home. Obviously, we have not seen it. It's releasing in December. Right now, we're in September. Man, a lot of spoilers have come out.
That trailer, bro. That trailer that the teaser, bro.
Oh. The second you see that Green Goblin grenade.
It's like,
and you hear the laugh.
Yeah.
Oh.
and then you see Doc Ock.
Doc Ock.
You
Hello,
see the
Peter.
tentacle hit
Hello,
the ground.
Peter.
What a great trailer.
It's gonna be a great.
Yeah, it's
great
gonna be a great movie.
I mean, I can already
That's gonna-
imagine the
yeah.
nerd orgasms that are gonna come
that's
out.
gonna. That's
Don't
gonna,
even try to like bother getting tickets. The
Yeah,
first
the
2
box
weeks.
office is gonna.
Yeah.
The box office is gonna be like a blowout. They're gonna
What
make
fantastic marketing, by the
So
way.
yeah, great marketing, but also like what great planning on part of the MCU. Sorry, did I fucking?
No, you're good. I fucking dropped my beer.
Okay.
I spilled my beer on myself.
What great
foul.
or great planning by the MCU.
Oh, yeah.
To bring back not only the Sinister Six, which we've never seen in this cinematically, which is one of like Spider-Man's classic, this conglomerate, this team of villains that team up to beat against Spider-Man because individually they can't beat him, so they have to like team together. And so it's like the Vulture, Doc Ock, Electro, the Sandman,
Green
Mysterio,
Goblin.
and Green Goblin, and so they all team up together to like fight him, which is like one of the most iconic probably comics. And if you're a Spider-Man like comic nerd, you probably know that very well.
Yep.
So yeah, they're not only bringing back that back, but they're also bringing back the old Spider-Mans from the old movies, and it's like that's a lot of people's childhoods. I grew up watching Tobey Maguire being Spider-Man.
Dude,
and a lot of people did.
I swear to God, I'm gonna scream when I see Tobey Maguire on the.
I was just say
fucking
like
screen.
I
Spidey,
don't know if
bro.
you all agree with me, but
Spidey.
like I don't know if it sounds bad, but I could care less about the Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, Andrew
No,
Garfield was okay.
I'm not gonna lie.
It was okay.
The
It was not
the
my
movies
favorite.
The movies were decent. They were good. The movies were
But,
good.
like-
I'm not gonna lie. The movies were good.
You talk
but
about planning,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When that one came out, I was like, "Ugh, why are they trying to reboot this crap? Like, you don't need to redo another one. You don't need to redo an
don't need-
already
yeah,
great movie."
you
I
don't
remember
need to
that was
redo.
one of the big cries of when that movie came out. Like,
Yeah.
why are we redoing this? And now we see it was all part of the whole.
I
Plan.
don't think it was.
I don't think it was.
Really.
I don't think it was.
I think it was just-
I think they 100%. They were like,
Sony was just trying to make
Fuck
money.
it.
Yeah,
They were
Sony
like-
was trying to make
they were like,
money.
I
Alright.
don't know, man.
like there was a bunch of old men sitting in a boardroom, and they were like, okay, a lot of people are requesting to have Andrew and Toby come back. Why don't we just fucking give it to them? Let's just call it part of the MCU. Fuck it. And then somebody was sitting in the background like, yeah, I'm down. And then that's what fucking happened. I mean. I really think so. I don't think that any of it was planned. I think Andrew Garfield, like, they ultimately planned to obviously have him as the next Spider-Man. And then when they connected Tom Holland into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I mean, obviously that was different.
Who's like a very good casting of like.
Oh yeah,
Because
sure.
Tobey
He's
Maguire-
probably like lore-wise, he's probably the most accurate
the most
Spider-Man
accurate
so
to
far.
Spider-Man, yeah, of comics, yeah,
Because
comic book.
he's the one that looks like he could
he
be
looks young,
high school
yeah,
age.
he looks really young, yeah.
Whereas Tobey Maguire looked like he was fucking 35.
like a grown-ass man. Yeah, he did. We love him. We love Tobey
We
Maguire.
love him,
man.
What-
Yeah.
and he played the role to perfection.
He played the role really well, but yeah, he looks like a grown-ass man. Yeah, yeah,
and he gave us some great memes.
yeah, he did
He
give
did.
us some great memes, brother. Fucking
But
snap memes, shit.
I will say this. So I've been researching a little bit, and obviously I've been formulating my own sort of concoctions based on Spider-Man No Way Home. But what I did find, a lot of people are theorizing that Doctor Strange is not Doctor Strange in the movie. Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah, I also picked up on that when they're on the, especially in the teaser trailer, when they're on the train and he's doing the like division of the fucking train things and Spider-Man's facing him. He's not like almost like running away, kind of like like they're fighting almost. Right. So
there's a couple of
It's a variant.
scenes that almost seem confrontational.
yeah,
first of all,
confrontational.
so okay, based on that trailer, Doctor Strange is acting a little weird.
he is.
Like
So-
Goya said,
so-
there are a few frames where it almost looks confrontational between Doctor Strange
and Spider-Man
and Spider-Man.
Tom Holland.
So yes, there's a couple of scenes I picked up on that. Yes, definitely confrontational, but I like to look at the backgrounds, and the backgrounds I think also show a lot of imagery behind it. So it's a very gray background. It's a very when you watch the Doctor Strange movies, it's very colorful,
yeah,
dark.
because they're like going through dimensions.
Exactly
and
right.
shit.
But when
Yeah.
you watch this one, it's very gray, very bland, very nondescriptive, kind of.
That's true.
Those are not
Yeah.
analyses that I made.
I mean, either.
It's a good point.
color grading.
So
yeah.
it could be nothing, right? But I mean, if we're
Granted,
going-
it's also not a Doctor Strange centralized movie.
exactly. But I feel like even if it wasn't a Doctor Strange, like they've already built up this character for how many years at this point, right?
yeah, a couple.
So it definitely seems like not Doctor Strange.
So the theory is that Doctor Strange is actually another character named Mephisto.
Oh shit!
I've heard this in SpongeBob.
No.
Dude, SpongeBob had it right all along.
So Mephisto is actually basically like the Satan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, he's a demon.
He's a demon, and well, he's not actually a demon, but he is a Hell Lord.
Yeah, I forget how that works in the
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Marvel
But
universe.
so in the series or in the comic book series, Mephisto basically gets off on
he makes deals, right?
making bargains with the living,
with mortgage,
specifically powerful beings. Right? That's a very specific thing that he likes to do. He's actually the original creator of the Ghost Rider, if you didn't know.
Oh.
Really?
Yes.
I forget that the Ghost Riders are
So
Johnny Blaze.
there is heaven and hell in MCU.
No. It's not biblical hell in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is hell, but it's not biblical hell. So, and Mephisto was actually theorized to be in WandaVision. They thought that, the ultimate antagonist was going to be Mephisto. Obviously, that didn't pan out. But, yes, so he likes to strike bargains with powerful beings.
Mm-hmm. So that makes sense, like, especially, like, how gray it looks. Like yeah, but biblical hell's fiery and, but, like, every other movie or universe, it's bland. It's nothing. It's...
Well, they're not necessarily saying that Spider-Man is in hell, but they're saying that Mephisto is potentially impersonating Doctor Strange.
Oh.
Because if you think about it, like in Infinity War, Doctor Strange literally looked through 14 million different timelines, different possibilities.
With the time
and
stone.
the only time that he ultimately decided to give up the time stone was when he realized that the only way to win the outcome of the battle,
Win the war.
well, the war, yes, was to sacrifice the time stone, was to give up the time stone to Thanos. So, like, he's pretty fucking stingy with this thing. He doesn't fuck with the timeline at all. Obviously, he's the Sorcerer Supreme now.
Yeah.
So he's pretty stingy with the timeline. And for Peter just to walk up to him and be like, hey, this thing is kind of minorly inconveniencing me. Could you fix it? And he's like, yeah. Fuck yeah. I'll fucking fuck with the timeline for you. Here you go.
That's true. That's very true.
It's weird. That's not Doctor Strange like.
Yeah.
It's strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so the other thing I will say,
that would be cool if that's like they add that to us. That would be badass.
It's a really good possibility. The other thing I will say,
because he's making a deal for everybody to forget. So yeah. But what does he promise?
So listen to this.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
What does he promise?
There is a comic book series of Spider-Man called One More Day. And in this series, Spider-Man has just revealed his identity. He's gotten his identity revealed. And he seeks the magical assistance to save his Aunt May as well. In the series, his Aunt May has been shot. And so he goes to Mephisto seeking assistance to save her life. And so Mephisto usually claims their souls, kind of like a demon. In the series, instead of claiming Peter's soul, he requests the marriage of him and MJ.
Of Mephisto and MJ.
No. Of Peter Parker
Tobey
and MJ.
Maguire and Kristen Dunst.
Not Tobey Maguire.
Fucking
Zendaya.
Of Peter Parker and Mary Jane.
Mary Jane Watts.
He basically takes their marriage.
He takes their love. That's what he wants in return.
And obviously, it's a shitty life that Peter lives after this. But
So
that sounds very
that
similar.
Line he said, like, wait, MJ will forget?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sounds very similar to what's happening. He's revealed his identity.
Yeah.
Granted, Aunt May is not dying.
And I remember reading
but he's
about
revealed
that.
his identity. He's making a deal with the devil.
That
I
we
mean,
know
he
of.
doesn't know that he's making a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's basically asking that something happens. But Doctor Strange does mention that everybody's going to forget. And he's like, wait, so MJ's going to forget, and, all of that.
Yeah.
I
And
mean-
it's actually one of, like, the most controversial, I think. A lot of, like, I'm not a big comic fan, so I can't, like, really attest. But I remember reading, like, an IGN article or something like that. A lot of, like, comic book fans say that's, like, one of the most, like, more polarizing comics that they've released. Yeah. That they've released. One more polarizing comic books that they've released, so.
I don't know. That sounds really similar to it. So, but I have a theory myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, have you seen What If?
I haven't watched a new one. The one with the zombies, right?
Okay, but you've seen the one before that. The Doctor Strange episode.
T'Challa. Oh, no. Yeah. I saw that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
have you seen it?
I have not. I've been meaning to get onto it.
Okay, I'm going to spoil it for
It's
you right
fine.
now.
You go
It's a
for
little
it.
spoil, yeah.
Okay, so in What If, I want to say it's episode 4, we center around Doctor Strange. It's called What If Doctor Strange Lost His Heart Instead of His Hands.
Yeah.
Because in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Doctor Strange crashes and his hands are crushed, right? So in this universe, and I'm assuming this is after Loki does his thing and Sylvie kills Nathaniel Richards and blah, blah, blah. So in this universe,
makes
Doctor
sense.
Strange was not a dick. And him and his girlfriend were like very much in love. And we know that he loves her, but you know, obviously in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he's an asshole. So
He loves his job more than he loves.
correct. He prioritized his job over anything. And in this universe, Doctor Strange loves his significant other, just as much or if not more than his job. And so what they do is they get in the car and then they take off and the crash happens still, but instead of his hands being crushed, she's killed.
Yeah, she dies.
She dies. And so Doctor Strange goes on in grief. He goes on to the mystics. He learns about the mystic arts and he becomes Doctor Strange, right? And all the same things happen. Dormammu comes out, he beats Dormammu, he becomes a Sorcerer Supreme, blah blah blah. So up until that point, he's fairly consistent with the main timeline except for the fact that, his I don't know if she's his wife or his girlfriend.
Origins of it.
His girlfriend,
Right.
yeah.
The reason that he joined the mystics is different. So up until then it is. But the difference is that in this timeline he continues to grieve her. And so eventually what he does is he reverses time and he goes back to try to save her. And he's not able to. She keeps dying and dying and dying. And he keeps reliving that moment over and over and over again. No matter what he does, she dies.
Yeah, she
even
always
if he
dies.
doesn't get in the car, she gets shot or something happens.
Yeah, something
And
happens.
she dies. And so
Yeah.
the Sorcerer Supreme comes to him and tells him that it's what's called an absolute point in time.
The ancient one.
The
yeah.
ancient one comes and tells him it's what's called an absolute point in time. It's irreversible. You can't do anything to change it, no matter what you do. So he goes crazy. He goes back in time, finds the library of Cagliostro, finds books that basically tell him that he can absorb the powers of other beings and become powerful enough to reverse an absolute point in time.
Yeah.
And he does this for centuries. He spends centuries absorbing other beings and going crazy. And he becomes
He's all
a
fucked up.
fucking monster. I mean,
Yeah.
he's literally like a demon. He looks like a demon to me. And by the end of it,
He nasty.
yes. And I mean,
He's stanky.
details aside, yes, he's stanky. You're very, very observant, Goyle.
He still has
Good
great
job.
hair.
That's great.
By the end of it, he's fucking great, like disgusting.
Yeah.
And he ultimately saves Christine. He's able to break that absolute point in time, and then his reality collapses.
Yeah.
And
he destroys his reality.
The whole point of the show is that we also have Uatu, the Watcher, observing these universes.
The Watcher.
And he watches Doctor Strange, his reality collapse. He loses Christine anyways. And Uatu does nothing to intervene, which is not necessarily also canon, because in the comics, Uatu does a lot of intervening.
Yeah, I was about to say he does do a lot of fucking bitch ass.
Yeah, he does a lot of shit.
He does a lot of shit in the fucking comics.
Sussy baka, bro.
Yeah, he's a little sussy
Sussy
baka.
baka?
Bro.
Sussy baka. But anyways, so yeah.
There's like a team of Watchers too. There's a bunch of them.
There is a whole.
Yeah.
There's actually a whole race of Watchers.
These
but
fourth dimensional beings.
so he loses his reality anyways, and at this point he is like all powerful. He's super powerful. I mean, he's absorbed all these beings throughout time and space because he's literally summoned them from other universes and timelines and everything.
Yeah, he like eats them. Yeah, absorbs them.
Yeah, he absorbs their powers and
like good ramen.
Or
like good ramen.
Yeah.
You're so what you're telling me is that you would compare Doctor Strange's absorption of beings to the fucking consumption of ramen?
He like sucks them in like a good ramen. Like, when you're slurping ramen and it's real good.
what are you slurping over there?
I fucking guess.
I don't know.
Okay, so Doctor Strange goes fucking crazy in
made
this
some
universe.
bomb ramen.
What I did notice was that when reality collapses, Doctor Strange is left alive.
Yeah, he is left alive. Yeah, I know.
He's basically left to suffer in the universe that he created. So my theory, and this is completely my own theory. I have not seen this online. My theory is that the Doctor Strange that we see in Spider-Man is the same Doctor Strange from that universe. that he's become increasingly powerful, almost like Mephisto, and maybe he became Mephisto. Maybe that was almost like Mephisto's origin story.
Oh, he is Mephisto. Oh.
And because at one point we see Doctor Strange raise his face and he looks like a demon because of the creature that he had just absorbed.
Yeah.
And he looks like a demon. And I mean, there are several points where he has wings on the back and all kinds of tentacles and crazy shit. But yeah, so Doctor Strange obviously converts him. I mean, he changes all kinds of ways, and he's very different than what he was, and he loses his reality, and so now we see that he's been absorbing these other beings, almost like the deals that he does, like Mephisto. I don't know, man. I think my theory is really that Doctor Strange in What If becomes or is the Doctor Strange. He somehow finds a way to escape his reality. And he is the Doctor Strange that we see in the new Spider-Man movie.
It's not a bad theory. I mean, it could be like the origin of Mephisto. He is a variant of which is introduced.
And they're
in Loki.
fucking good at this too.
Yeah, no,
they're doing this on
purpose.
purpose.
I'm saying like they think of this all beforehand and find a way to explain it so that it all makes sense. And you're like, damn, God, these motherfuckers are good, dude. These fucking writers, bro. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's Kevin Feige who's like the CEO or if it's like the team of writers. And I'm like, let me talk to the writers, bro. Like, who the fuck is the mastermind behind this shit, dude? Crazy motherfuckers, dude. Yep. And they have years and years and years. Like, I don't know, what is it, like fucking like 70 years of comics to draw from?
Oh yeah.
So they have like infinite storylines. They have such a knowledge
content.
base to draw shit from. Like,
they can literally put everything in a bucket and just
exactly. Pick and choose what they would like to include, which they've done.
Well, and
it's a great success.
They don't even follow it particularly. They don't even follow it to the T. What they do is they've combined several different comics.
They try to make it original, make it theirs. They make it theirs.
Right. Yeah. Which is honestly part of the art form of the MCU. But anyways, that was my rant on the MCU for today. So that's my theory, man. I really think that Doctor Strange in What If in Episode 4 is going to be the same Doctor Strange that we see in Spider-Man. Damn. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it would be really cool. Those were like the takeaways that I took from that episode. And I mean, it all makes sense, that all of a sudden the multiverse explodes and Uatu is watching this happen and blah, blah, blah. So
The Watcher. Yeah.
The Watcher.
I like that intro. The intro for
What If. Yeah.
It's really cool.
I am your guide
through these fucking sick. Yeah, fucking like that. That fucking intro for What If is really cool.
Yeah.
I really need to watch that.
Yeah, you need to
watch it. It's a really good show.
It's really cool.
So Sarah, my girlfriend, for those of you that don't know, I kind of got her.
Which is all of you.
Yeah, everyone, because y'all don't know me. Funny. So I actually got her into the MCU. So we're kind of been off and on. Got into a lot like Star Wars too. So we're like off and on watching these movies. So we're trying to get it kind of in order. So right
Disney
now,
Plus has them in order, right?
Yeah. So right now we're doing it in the phases.
The phases.
And then once we finish, obviously, what the last was it? End War. Wow, that's a video game from way back when.
Fucking Infinity War. Infinity War.
About Endgame.
Endgame. Goddamn. End War.
End War. Infinity War.
No. Well,
Infinity Game.
End War. If you all don't know, it's an old Tom Clancy game. Look it up.
Slurred words lurking in.
Yeah, no kidding. So once we get to that, we're gonna start. We watched the Falcon one. We watched that one.
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, we watched that one. I personally,
it was
really
a good show.
it.
I mean, it was. I will say, out of the 3 that have been released so far, or rather, I guess 4 now with What If.
Yeah.
But out of the 3 live action ones, between WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki, it's my least favorite.
Really?
Yes.
So I'm not gonna lie. I've seen maybe 2 episodes of Loki. And then Sarah, she's actually watched all of WandaVision.
Have you watched all of WandaVision?
I've watched 1 episode.
You haven't even gotten to the best part.
Yeah, I know. That's what she keeps telling me, and she keeps rewatching it without me. So I think I'm just gonna do it mine.
Let's go.
So my girlfriend is she's very like,
Sarah, don't you wait for this motherfucker. You do you.
Seriously. She's like, she'll be like, oh, I'll watch it, but if I watch it, God forbid I watch something without her, I'm basically getting crucified.
Have hell to pay.
So that's the plan. It's just hard with our schedules and stuff like that. But no, we want to watch it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna turn her into a nerd.
Hopefully.
That's what we do around here. We turn people into nerds.
Converts.
She slurs her own words already, so.
Yeah, we got the nerds and the slurred words
there
flowing.
You go. That's all you need. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I don't know if you had to rank them, fuck, I don't know, dude.
I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is probably my least favorite. Not that it's not good, but if I had to choose a least favorite out of the three, it would be Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Loki would definitely
Loki's
be the top.
my favorite.
Now,
Loki be the
for the
top.
few episodes I've seen of WandaVision, for me personally, it's hard to follow.
Dude, it's because the first 3 episodes are almost
don't make any sense.
Yeah, like you have to watch the rest of the season for them to
and
make
then
sense.
it begins to pieces begin to pull together.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to have been completely lost this entire time that we were talking about WandaVision.
No, this is good because like I probably wouldn't have had the same thought process. But
Dude,
no,
you have to watch it.
I need to watch them, like
pretty good.
definitely.
Yeah,
But Loki reigns supreme. You got to watch that one.
Loki
for
definitely
sure.
reigns supreme.
If you don't watch
100%.
any of the other ones, at least watch that one.
Oh no, yeah.
Mostly because I think Loki has the most impact on the
greater
because
on
it's
the
setting the
greater
stage.
greater
Yeah.
MCU. Yeah, definitely for sure.
Yeah.
That's like an absolute. That's a fact. Yeah, that's for sure. Greater impact. But yeah, like I mean, I don't know if I had to compare them. Man, I don't know. Definitely Loki at the top. And then I don't know if it would be. I think in my opinion, WandaVision would be last. I know that's like maybe a sacrilegious,
You're
decision.
going to Doctor.
That is
But-
definitely
But
sacrilegious.
I would put. I don't know, just because I like Captain America a lot, so I'd probably pick Captain America before. And I think one of my favorite lines in that series is when they're talking about super soldiers, and they're talking and Baron Zemo, who's like another iconic like Captain American villain in the comics, who's very different in the MCU, is not the same.
Not at all.
Because he has the mask. He doesn't have the mask. I was always wondering when they were gonna bring back the mask. And
I
shit.
feel like they'll probably
mask
build
and the
into
sword,
it.
because he always has a sword in the comics. Anyways, he has like this weird purple fucking bodysuit. But I was waiting for it to come up, but maybe it won't. I don't know.
Bodysuits,
But
that's your thing.
yeah, no, it's just the character design. Anyways, but Baron Zemo says something about they're talking about super soldiers and how the serum makes you more of what you are. So it only amplifies of what you are.
Right.
And so they're talking about, how the serum has made these, like, if you haven't watched Captain America, you don't watch it, spoiler, but it makes these, like, super terrorists more, like, they make them more than what they are. So it makes their beliefs stronger.
It makes terrorists super terrorists.
Yeah, super terrorists, but they're stronger. Like, it makes them, amplifies their beliefs and etc. of what they are, of what they believe in. And so I don't know what they're talking about exactly in the line, but Baron Zemo basically says, well, there's only one Steve Rogers. Like, there's only ever one. Because there's only ever one who's ever like that. There's only one man who's Steve Rogers in there. They're like, and then like, even like Bucky and fucking Sam are like, they're like, yeah, there's only one Steve. Like, there's only one Captain America. Like, one Steve Rogers. Yeah, because he's so...
Well, and we see Falcon try to follow that.
Yeah, he's so selfless. That's like the thing that makes Captain America is that he's a selfless
and
guy.
he's got that moral code.
Yeah, he came from nothing and he's selfless. And so that's what we're talking about the serum. The serum makes you more of what you are. And so it just makes it, so it makes him this paragon of like virtue of like, I'm always
it's more so of an amplifier rather than
than like a and like a super enhancement.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like I don't know. I remember that line. I always remember that line because that line's good. It's like, there's only one Steve Rogers. There's only one original Captain America. And then it's like, and then that's also Sam's like struggle in that series is like, how do I live up to that? Like, how can I be?
Well, and he's scared of it.
Exactly.
He's scared of taking
and that's
the
what Bucky's
mantle.
telling him. Bucky's like, he left it to you. Like, he gave it to you. Like, he chose you for a reason. He didn't choose me, obviously, because I have, I'm a fucking assassin who killed people. He left it to you for like a reason.
Hey, he apologized.
Yeah. He did apologize. Yeah. But yeah. That's why I gotta know. I like that development, the character development in that.
Well, anyways, we're this is gonna be a long episode, but anyways, so kind of a different episode today. Again, we had a guest for the very first time, Rowan.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
He's a good friend of ours. We've obviously known each other for a long time already at this point, so probably potentially a recurring guest. Maybe we'll introduce you to some good beers.
Shit.
Oh, I'll send my contract over, dude. Fuck.
We'll let the lawyers take care of that.
Your people talk to my people.
Exactly. My fucking people will call your people.
Yeah.
We'll sort it out. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. A little bit different of an episode. We got a Texas classic Shiner Bock on the show today. What a great beer! What an
beer.
easy
Very
drinking, great night beer, country music classic. But
Where?
yeah, so Marvel Cinematic Universe, we got Rowan's favorite fandom, obviously being the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but also Halo the franchise, which in my opinion is a really good choice. A really good choice.
Yeah, solid.
So yeah, big thanks to Rowan for coming on as a guest today.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some pizza.
With some pizza.
I'm hungry.
Some schmeat.
Some schmeat. But anyways, yeah, thank you guys again for listening. One thing I will just kind of briefly mention, like I said, we got the website up and running, nerdsandslurredwords.com.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked it out, please go check it out. Do us the favor. Literally just fucking type it in your browser. It's not that hard. I know you type other things.
POR. Oh, not that one.
We also.
I was gonna say somebody you put it on private mode.
Well, we also open up a lot of social media accounts. I don't think we have anything on there yet, but we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, I believe as well. Yep. So we just recently opened that up. So if you want to go follow us preemptively, but we haven't, like I said, we haven't
premature.
Fucking do it.
Please do it.
Yeah. And whatever you do, if you're enjoying the show, I'm leaving this until the end of the show because if you've gotten it this far, obviously you enjoy the show. If you're enjoying the show, please give us a review on Apple, Spotify, whatever it is. Give us those 5 stars. If you're enjoying it, let us know because you know what? It helps us out a lot if you do that. It helps us push further out there. Obviously, I'm actually kind of impressed with how we're doing so far with only 3 episodes out.
I think Anchor is a very great.
Anchor's are an aggressive algorithm.
Yeah, aggressive.
But
algorithm.
So
stuff.
Just share the love.
Yeah.
If you guys are listening out there, make sure to share the love.
Follow us on your favorite podcasting platform and try to follow us on the socials as well. Where I think we're Nerds and Slurred Words everywhere, right?
Nerds and Slurred Words everywhere.
Everywhere on all platforms.
Actually,
Twitter,
I'm lying to you. On Twitter and Instagram, I think we're Slurred Nerds.
Slurred Words. So
Slurred Nerds.
Slurred Nerds on Twitter.
Because Nerds and Slurred Words was way too fucking long of a handle.
We're Slurred Nerds on Twitter and Instagram. We're Nerds and Slurred Words on our website. And we're not just going to words on the podcast or your favorite podcast platform.
I tried to save your thumbs on the social media handles.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you guys so much for listeing. I'm Manny Lotta.
I'm Goyle Lopez.
And I'm Rowan Yerskowski.
And this has been Nerds with Slurred Words,
baby. Ambrosia.
Have a good night.